All right. Boom, 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 boom. Let me see what he's doing here. All right, we're live.
We are live.
We are live. Moderator support, don't care.
Mars Anomalies Hangout, we're live.
Yeah. What's going on, folks? Let's see if they pop in. We'll just wait a little bit.
What's going on?
What's going on, Kyle? Good to see you there, man.
It's good to be here, and I'm just gonna cut the sound of my second computer here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'll pull a link. I'm gonna start sending the links out.
Yeah.
Well, you guys set it up.
Let's get it on.
Yeah, and you guys remember to share it on Facebook, like I'm doing now. So
like I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Oh, what is
Anomalies
happening?
can be on live now. So,
Oh yeah.
On Facebook also, and I'm just gonna share it one more time here.
One more time. Appreciate it, Kyle. Much love to you there, brother.
One more time.
Yep.
One more space.
Let's see here.
It's so funny. I can't even get up my bandwidth. I'm wondering how bad I'm even lagging on the side. I can't even pull YouTube up.
That's pretty bad.
Today I'm getting 200 down on MediaCom and 0.012 up. So
woohoo! Smoking.
We got the iPhone out and trying to hang out the window.
Yeah, right. Just whip it out the window. It's like, yeah, this ought to work.
Yeah.
We are live. There's a lot of guests already in the chat room. Yeah. Hello, Kyle. Hello, Mimi. Hello, Pete. Hello, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Sam, Catherine, Surgery. Catherine, guys, sorry. My eyes, my computer's surgery. Mike Knapp, hello. And you've got a good supporter in Mike Knapp. Kyle Harvey. We love you. We've got a lot here. Georgie Lister. Max, Georgie Lister. Hey, everybody.
What is happening? I think a lot of you folks know Thomas Mikey Jensen, and you know my good friend Will Farrar. He's from, What's Up in the Sky 37, and of course, Thomas is from spacelink.tv. So we're going to let you guys pop in here a little bit, say hello to everybody.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Chris's channel. We're just checking over here. You can come back again in a half an hour.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'll just let him have run of it. It'll be all right. It'll be an awesome show regardless.
It's good to be back. It's been a lot of years since we've done anything together last time, and I've really been looking forward for today because it's meeting the old gang again.
Yep.
It's been a minute or two. I haven't made videos forever. I've been promising videos forever, but I never get around to it. So it's lately I do have a slew of it. I've been working on websites and stuff, getting them back together. Literally, I took a couple years off and just watched you guys. Watched Chris' channel just blow up. It was exciting. I remember that day I was like, "Yo, Chris, you got to get a channel, man. You keep emailing me about stuff, dude."
It's like, yeah, you got to get your own channel, dude.
Videos, dude.
And like I said, I gave you full credit many a times where I go, listen, they'll say, how'd you get started in this? I'll say, well, there was Will Farrar, and then was, I'm going to try to remember his name. He's from the UK. It'll come to me.
Buddy.
What was his name?
Joe. This guy. What was his name? This guy.
No, it wasn't him. There was another guy that was, I'll think of it in a minute. But when I started watching, I'm going, shit, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the video thing, though. You know, getting on there, it's kind of weird to me, all new. And I said, well, hell, he's doing it. I'm jumping on this thing. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go for it. And just make the videos. Just get on there and, because it's a passion of yours. You want to get it out. You want to show the public what you see. Now, of course, it's up to them to make their own decisions, what they think it is. But that's basically what we do, is just get on there and have a great time showing these things and what we found,
Yeah, I started with doing just the first couple, videos where Mars Anomalies, and I didn't have the camera enough now. And one day I was like, you know what, hell, I'll turn it on, see what happens. And I just left it on, put it up in the corner.
Yep.
It worked. I still can't believe how many videos that I had done, like 500 or 600 on my channel.
Oh yeah.
And, they cover so many different things. That's why some of the reasons I've taken off sometimes, I've seen everything so far. We've seen it all. You can tell it definitely was a just as we know there were past civilizations here on Earth, they were on Mars as well.
That was absolute. We can vote for that.
Well, I just read an article that came out. I think it was on. It was last year. I believe it was December of 22, where they said now scientists believe that life came from Mars. We're all surprised, aren't we? I'm not surprised.
A little bit deja vu from when they said now we found water on Mars, like 2 months, 3 months after we posted it for the first time. Like, and by the way, have done that more than a year before NASA came with
exactly.
the disclosure of life water on Mars.
Oh yeah, yeah. Between that, the caps, there's actual H2O, not just CO2, so on. I mean, it just goes on.
It was J.P. Skipper's and Richard Hoagland that got me into it. J.P. Skipper's website. He was like, he would put these things up. They had like water spraying and stuff like that. It really got really what I'm seeing here. And some of the stuff he would put up was amazing. And it was always like, really well detailed, written out, and things like that.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people ask where he went. I think he passed away a couple years back. But I know you can still get his website on the Internet Archive. The Wayback Machine. If you want to know about the Wayback Machine, it's a good place. You go back there and you can pull up websites.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
It's a good way to check up on people, NASA, things like that.
They're like, let me check that site out right now. It's like, what's going on?
You can go pull up their site from any given day. That's pretty cool to see what they were saying.
Oh yeah.
Let's
see.
Speaking of good sites, what sites would you recommend for the listeners to find Mars images on, or do your research from? Or who would you recommend in general? Just an example, I would recommend, if people want to know about it from the beginning, I would recommend people to visit Joseph P. Skipper's page.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? What would your answer be to people?
Yeah, that's a good start. I think that's a really good start. Then, because he goes, if you think about it, he goes way back. Remember they had like the lake, the trees, so on and so forth. Yeah. And like Will was talking about where you had what looked like that giant sprayer. And I remember very well, it looked like it was spraying off to the left, to the right, coming out of the mountains. So start with there. And then, of course, you can go on the regular NASA JPL sites and find out the recent, or you can put on there latest Perseverance Mars photos, or Ingenuity, and then it'll bring you to these sites, and you can get all of these photos, which is just awesome. And you get to pull these things apart. I mean, they're just awesome,
It is.
Yeah, good old. Like I said, I'm one running the Skype here. Let's do that.
Oh yeah, doesn't waste any time. Jump right in that bad boy.
Right.
JP Skipper.
There he is, Mr. JP Skipper.
Yes, he died in January 9th, 2018.
Yeah.
I guess these people got his website up. That's awesome. Whoever's taking care of it.
Yeah, that is cool.
I remember some of these, like this thing right there. It has it grabbed my attention for sure. These were some of the ones I did the first times I made videos. I used these for the first like 6, 7, 8 videos. Some of these.
Yeah, I mean, how do you look at most of that stuff and say, oh, that's natural? There's no way. I mean, you can see it's ornate. It's just it's by design. You can see that, like the one almost in the middle, the one that third one from the left. What are you kidding me? I even did a video on that particular one.
Here it is. I love this design too. It's still got it on here. Look, it's got like the sprayer thing right there.
Yep.
I don't know if I haven't really gone back and looked at these to even see if they were debunked or anything like that. But half the stuff we look at, I always say, I see what I see, you see what you see. That's what I always would say, because God knows when I'm looking through pictures and stuff like that, I see all sorts of stuff. And I don't. That's why I don't. I still have like the What's Up This Guy group and things like that on Facebook, and we have a lot of people that post things, and some of them, it's a lot of us like they'll say, oh, it's a little person or something like that. A lot of times I think that goes a little too far, but hey, you see it, whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff up there that you can pull out, like stuff like what Skipper's done here.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that one of JP Skipper's advantages was that when he did all this, there was only spirit and opportunity up there. And that was before we reached what you would call it, the digital space age. It was digital from Spirit and Opportunity also, but the pictures that came back were how can I say it, more original. They were more raw. What you get back today from Curiosity and Perseverance has been processed before you can view it yourself. You have to have NASA spending days and days and days on processing a single image before they can show it to us, and that wasn't how it worked with Spirit and Opportunity.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days, so you could always find things on the images, and they weren't blurred the same way as we see digital space age with Curiosity and Perseverance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the stuff that's coming down. I mean, they're really crafty about what they're doing anyway. If you really think about it, they had, you know, what they were doing to the moon photos. They were censoring them out. You know, when they had the acetate, when they first started out with that. And then they started getting real. I think what they did was they went back into these photos later on, way after the Apollo missions, went way back. And then they just started really centering them like an overlay. And this is the reason why they don't quite look the same way they used to. But then they just took their technique. They did better and better and improved it. Because before, if you went and watched, if you went on to photoforensics.com, if you put the photo up, any photo, you can see the metadata and everything else. And you can look into these different categories, and it'll show you what camera they used. You know, if there was a light on, meaning a flash, so on and so on, the whole 9 yards, right? And then what it would, and it would say literally underneath it was GIMP that they were using to make it more like aesthetically pleasing, or to adapt it for better for the eyes. And then they went to Photoshop. Of course, their Photoshop's probably insane compared to the Photoshop we have, and the technology they have as far as software to. Like rock mimicking software to cover these things up.
The same thing they did, the Chinese government did. You can see on their website basically, or on their metadata, you pull it right up and you see saved when it pulled it up. You know, I remember one was like an older version. I was like, they must have no updates on that one, huh?
Yep.
Windows XP, but yeah, it's definitely it's interesting. Now, so that game is interesting. You said that if they would, because that's like also can be used in the back end software, like on the rover. That's the open source software.
Yeah.
I always thought that something up there might be, you know, obscuring them before they even get out.
Just a quick hello to everybody who's jumped in there. Appreciate you getting there. Figured you guys would love this one. We haven't done a live feed in a while, so. Like I said, we're here with Will Farrar and Thomas Mikey Jensen. And, of course, we know Thomas from Spacelink.tv, and we know Will Farrar from What's Up in the Sky 37. If you haven't been to his site, check him out. And, of course, Mikey's, like I said, go to his site as well. And if you want any other different ones you want to share, Thomas, I know you got maybe...
I got a lot of stuff. I got to make a little correction first. Spacelink TV on YouTube is just Spacelink TV.
Okay, that's what I thought too.
I had a website that was called spacelinkTV.com, but the same thing happens with Mars, Moon, Space, that somebody bought the domain and I want to sell it to me for $10,000.
Okay. So I remember you saying something like that. Okay.
Ask them politely to put it up where the sun don't shine anymore, and so now I don't have a website called Spacelink TV. We still got the site, we just need to rename it, and it's all still there, but it's not available until we get a new domain name on it. So unfortunately.
Now you have your YouTube. Which is?
I have the YouTube Spacelink TV, and I do have the Facebook group that's Mars, Moon, Space, only Mars, Moon, Space group on Facebook, and got a page also called Spacelink TV page on Facebook where you can find basically everything that I do besides on my profile on Facebook also, Thomas Mikey Jensen. But I was gonna share my screen here. Let me just see here. Are we working?
Yep.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, and Will, he disappeared. Do you think he'll...
Yeah, I think he just popped off in another dimension. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he went into a jump room or something. He activated the jump with all his technique. But one of the things I would like to talk about today, also, and hear your opinion about, Chris, is, for example, we got this famous picture from... the Mars Global Surveyor taken with the Mars Global Mars Orbiter camera. on board the satellite. And this is one of the most famous pictures in the world of anomalies on Mars. I didn't find this. I was directed to it by Brett Collins Shepard, who had it from somewhere else, and so on and so on and so on. So it has been up for many years. The satellite image was taken in 2000, and when it came out, I didn't see it until about 2012, 2013. When it was sent to me and asked for my opinion, I was like, wow, that was really one of the things that triggered me and got me into astroarchaeology, like this is. What I see on it was that there was a round object that to me looks like a UFO, as we know it, a UFO-shaped object, which is very, very interesting. So I've made a video about it. It went viral, had a lot of views, and I put it up on the website and wrote a lot about it. And I thought this has to hit the mainstream, because this is the first picture in the world from NASA showing an actual craft on the surface, because that was what I believed it was when I saw it the first time. I shared it a lot, and it came out and was shared for a few months, and somebody that actually used to work for NASA, and I'm going to keep his name for myself because he's actually a good friend, told me that it was a lens error on the photo. And I shouldn't put too much into it, and he told me that he worked with it and how he worked and how it was happening, and now actually almost believe him until it hit me, what if we can find it on another satellite image? So I decided to do a little bit of research on this one, and I went to Google Earth, I took the Mars version, and I found, typed in the ID number M18005558, as the name is on the image, and came to the area, and I could see there were several pictures overlapping that area. And one of them was, let me see if I can click here. Let me see if I get the right one in there. Here we go. Actually, from the year before, from 1999. It's not the same quality. I got a little bar on top here I need to remove so I can see what I'm doing myself here. It's not the same quality, but you can see that the anomaly we saw before in the picture from 2000 is still there, and you can see the structure of it and the shape of it. You can see it's actually there. So,
yeah, you can definitely see it.
You can definitely see it's not as good picture as the other picture, but it's there, and that in itself made me jump and almost have a party, because that was a confirmation that there was an actual object there. It was still there, the same place on the same clip, exactly the same place, and you could see it clearly. So that was a big confirmation of the existence of this anomaly, that it wasn't an error on the photo, it wasn't a mistake, it wasn't something that was just an error from NASA or whatever excuse was used. So that was a good confirmation, and I went a little bit further. I thought, let's have a look and see what else we can find. So I find a CTX image, which is an aerial overview from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, not the same satellite as the two other images, but the next one coming after that, and found the same area again from 2011, and you can see that there is something there where this so-called craft was before, and you can see there is an object, there is something, but the context camera is not giving us the same resolution as the Mars Orbiter camera would do, or the high-rise camera. It's an overview camera you use to decide where do you want to zoom in with your high-quality lenses.
Now, Thomas, let me interrupt you there. Now, is this, I know that it looks like it's a slightly different angle as well. Now, is this also higher in the air?
The Mars Global satellite is working almost stationary from 350 to 378 kilometers. That's about 230 miles. The picture you're looking at now is taken with the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which is changing a little bit in altitude from 257 kilometers to 320 miles.
Exactly.
So there's a little bit of difference. The old Mars Global Surveyor that had the orbiter camera on was a bit further away than the new one that have the new high resolution images cameras on.
Well, I'm also curious too, because they can obviously, if maybe it wasn't as zoomed in as much, not so much the spacecraft as far as how far it's out in orbit, but as far as how much it zoomed in. Because we know that the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter with the high-rise camera can zoom down to 4 feet of a swath on the ground.
You can get down to 25 centimeters per pixel.
So you know what I mean. So they should get ungodly, resolution on these things, to be truthful with you. But like you said, 3 pictures, all showing the same object, and it's got the same features to it, pretty much.
It has all the way through, and it is a confirmation that there is something there. And what I'm about to say now is, if you look at the 2 first pictures, the first one, you can see it clearly, and it's really crisp image. This one, you can see it so clear. If you look at it 10 years later,
they're definitely further up too. You can see it didn't zoom in quite as much.
It looks like somebody threw a bomb on it.
No, that's possible.
Just to be honest, it looks different. You can see it's still there, but the shape is different. But again, we can't say that out from a context camera. We need the high-rise camera to get over there. And funny enough, I still haven't found any high-rise images from exactly that area. There are lots around it, but there's nobody that's covering exactly that area. And trust me, I've been looking for hours and hours and hours. And the object in itself is interesting because the size of it, as I also said the other day, the size of it, if we don't understand the size of what we're looking at, then we can put a picture to it in our brains, in our heads. We need to know what the size are.
Absolutely.
And this object is measured out here, and I measured it out. Say what?
That's a big deal that gets overlooked a lot. Like the door on Mars, it's like this big. The one that it looks, that's huge.
It is huge. It's 148.5 meters wide, which you times with 3, then you got it in feet. So it's about 500 feet wide. So it is a huge object that we're looking at, and not just a tiny little disc-shaped object. This is it's bigger than our Navy ships, some of them. This is a huge object, and I do not understand, probably just me, why that this one hasn't been up in the media more than it has, because it's documented. It's there in 3 different satellite images. It's definitely not something that's natural. It's not something, it stands out of everything in its surrounding. The size of it, we can even measure it to be about 150 meters wide. We know it's a huge object that's sitting down there and shining at us on the old images. So
that's why it's probably not out there, because it is it's documented. It's everything they put out now seems to be good,
Yeah.
When I look through the paper stuff that does make it out in the media, it usually ends up being a joke or something that they go in with the idea of punching at it, kind of making it funny up, and then.
Well, what I find interesting about this thing is that it's really clear in this. I mean, when you look at the features, it looks like it has like openings or windows or some sort to this thing, some kind of giant openings. And when he said to you, "Oh, by the way, this is just some kind of blotch or something like that, or some imperfection with the camera or something along them lines," I went, "Wait a minute. I can see land or something contouring around this thing.
I can see shadow underneath it."
Yeah, you got a shadow underneath the thing.
Yeah.
I can see what looks like reflective parts on it. So come on now, that don't look like a blotch to me. That looks like an actual physical object.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I believe it is, and that's why I don't understand why this is not in the news. Why are we seeing pictures of blurry pictures where people are seeing small green men in that is being laughed at?
Yeah.
Why are we not seeing this one instead of all the other pictures? I don't understand how the world is put together today sometimes, because we got all the evidence in front of us. We even got it documented, but I think it's a matter of being able to share it with the world and use the right channels to share it with.
Oh, there's a lot of people want to know.
101 people watching right now. 101 people watching, guys. All right, keep coming in.
Well, the thing is, too, it's like the people who want to know, I always say this on my channel, anybody who wants to know is going to really, they're going to go after this themselves, too, right? So if it's one thing for you or me or Will to show this stuff, but I know a lot of people here alone that literally go, listen, I ripped these photos apart myself. And what you're saying is true. Now, sometimes they'll see things a little bit differently, and that's fine. Because that doesn't mean I'm, like, spot on. I could be off, and they're seeing something a little bit different. They're going, Chris, I see this instead. That's fantastic, because they're doing the work. They're not puppets, and that's what's awesome. Just a quick shout-out to Kyle and Mr. 786 Otto. Thank you both. I do appreciate you. Definitely hooking me up there in the chat there. Appreciate it.
Every dollar is a mile.
I wish that was true. Oh,
we were talking about gas mileage.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, or a kilowatt, depending on what you're driving.
Yes, exactly. So, everybody have Ricardo, JD, Steve Garnham.
Oh yeah.
Edward, Mooner, 6, Pat Wright. You got a whole bunch of Mike Knapp. A lot of people on here.
Yeah, Mr. Mike Knapp's on here. Yep. Kyle, you said you're back. You said you're back up in Ohio. You used to be in. I know you moved to Florida as well, and then you're back, huh? So, good to have you back. And Mr. 786 Otto, thank you very much. It's also good to see you as well. It's good to see everybody, man, because it's been a while since we've done these, right? And being busy, it's like you want to get in there, you just want to jump right on there, but after full day of physical work, you're literally, that recliner's looking great right now. I'm gonna relax in it, and you're done. So I promise you it's not planned, but you know what I mean? You do your best to try to at least get some videos out, and so we're going to try to do more of these as well, even if these guys are down with doing more of them, finding more pitches and pull them out of the archives, and that's what it's all about, because a lot of people haven't seen like a lot of Will's work and Thomas's work, what they found in the past. You're just watching what you're seeing, maybe a couple recent videos on these channels, but when you go back and you see the archives, you go, good God, I never knew this shit existed. So it's good to actually get in there. And I noticed Mr. Neville Thompson's in there, and I want to thank him for his work, all the work he's done on these gigapans. So big ups to him, and I'm glad to see him in there.
Neville Thompson, godfather of all gigapans.
He's a gigapan master, I call him.
Yeah.
He is definitely the shit.
Well, he's a good guy, too. I gave him a picture. Well, my parents was an old picture, and he I was way. I asked him if he could restore it. He sent that thing back. It looked like it was brand new. I loved it.
Listen,
I gave it to my mom after my dad.
She
loved it. He's a good guy.
If you want to know any information about a gigapan, he'll tell you anything you need to know about it. No, and I'm not even trying to be a smartass. He's really spot on at everything he does about him. So it's not to blow smoke up his rear end. He's just good at what he does.
I have a confession now talking about Neville Thompson. If there's something I don't know, the only guy I would ask would be Neville Thompson. Then I go to Neville. That's my friend.
Exactly. Yeah, he's, like I said, he's spot on anything. And that's why a lot of times, that's what I use. I use his gigapans. That's all I use. In fact, the last video I did, I took a screenshot of that area, and a lot of stuff. I just grab it off there because he's got the best. And he tries to use the low loss PDS and all this other stuff. So why mess around with garbage when you can just get it off of that? You know what I mean?
He's doing the best he can, and he's doing really, really good. He's doing a good job. Kudos to Neville Thompson for that. And we lost Will again.
Yeah, he told me before it actually dropped out. Mr. Ricardo Petrazzi, what's going on, man?
Neville is laughing. Yo, Nev. He's actually in there today.
Yep. That's why I said I seen him in there. That's why I said
it. Just forget what I said, Neville. You didn't hear that.
Yeah. Man, his head's getting really large right now.
I can delete that.
Yes. It's like poor guy's not gonna be able to get through the doorway. His head's so big now. But no, I mean straight up though. I mean I couldn't even begin to do what he does on some of these things. I love the way you do like an angle shot. It'll show you what direction it's going in, then it shows you and then puts all these. Oh my God, I couldn't.
I tried to do a gigapan for the first time a few weeks ago of some of the lunar orbiter 5, and I found 8 areas that matched together, and somebody came in and commented and said, "Wow, you really stitched it well together." And I'm like, "Well, I'm sure Neville Thompson, he wouldn't have said that if he saw that.
He'd be like, that sucks. It's like, damn. But I mean,
of course I said thank you, okay? And then I just laughed at myself.
But you know, it's like every time, and you're gonna ask these guys here in the chat room. Anytime I do anything that's got to do with Neville Thompson's work, I definitely give him the shout out because. And by the way, Nev T does actually have his own YouTube channel, and I don't know if he's super active on it, but I know he does put videos on there. So if Nev, if you want to drop that site on there, you can go ahead and do that.
Do it here in the chat, yeah.
Yeah, do it right here in the chat.
Please, you all you can.
Anything, if you got Facebook page, whatever you want to do. Because here's the thing, I mean, most of the videos I'll do, if it's anything Gigapan, it's him. So, you know, you can't help but to give the guy kudos. That's all he does. I mean, the guy's good at what he does. It's like going to, you know, get your car worked on by a pastry worker. It just doesn't make much sense. You want to go to the man himself. So.
I just got a message from Will Farrar here. He's coming back as soon as he can.
Yeah, he's been having his...
Speaking of the sun.
Yep. He's had, for some reason, his internet's dropping off, and he's trying to figure out why. He said, because it's usually better than that. And I understand. I mean, excuse me. It's happened to me one time, and of course I found out it was my coax going into the house. Somehow I had gotten a cut in it, and every time it got moist or just foggy out, like moisture in the air, mist, it was just down with the speed. So I feel him. Trust me, I know.
You know, we all know. We all been there. But Will be with us in a few minutes. But we can have a look at something more here. Let me just share my screen here. While we're waiting for Will, because there is the other one here that I took with me also.
Yeah, this one's an oldie but a goodie. This one's like
That's
really
an
right there
oldie,
too.
But and the goldie, and that one on the Jupiter 2 we saw just before are two of them that I believe that everybody should know about before they go out of the school. They should teach kids in school about this, that there is stuff up there. This is documented, and again, this one here is documented from 3 different angles with 2 different satellites at 3 different times. Also, just like with the previous Jupiter 2 UFO or M18 anomaly, as I call it. Do you remember the story about this one here, Chris? After I made the first video on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, there's like
you actually stumbled on this one.
Yeah, I did, and that was pure by coincidence. And everything we find is by coincidence because we don't know what we are looking for when we are looking, but you know what you're looking for when you find it. And this is a very good example of the wow feeling you get when you find something that looks really, really, really out of place or OP out of place. And I do remember posting it on YouTube, and 2 days later, 10 other channels had just suddenly found this amazing anomaly.
Coincidence? Coincidence?
Out
I don't think so.
480,000 pictures that day, 2 days later. Yeah, right. And knowing how big each satellite image is, you'll have to look quite a while to find an anomaly like that. And 9 out of 10 when I'm looking at anomalies, I'm looking at links that I see on social media, and I find some more in the areas. That's sometimes how I get into the different anomalies and find them, because I'm looking at what other people are posting and looking at the areas and looking at them links, and this is what people have done here. They suddenly all found it, but that's the way it is. This is another good example from the same anomaly, because this is from another image of it. This is not the same as we saw before. This is 2 different satellite images, and there is a month between them. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, because notice up here there's these white areas.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, when you go back to the other picture, you can see a difference in the shine. This one, for example, is almost gone. This one down here is not quite as bright as this is.
So a different sun angle.
It's different sun angle. It's a different time with a month in between. So this is awesome to get multiple pictures of the same objects, as I said before, because that's the best way of confirming it. As long as you only got one picture, everybody would be able to say that's an error on the lens, and that's the sand dune, and that's this, and that's that. and that's only a pure coincidence. Here it is again.
That's the proper orientation, right? Because that's the way I think I've seen it before.
That's the way it is on the first image that I found it on.
Right. Yeah, because that's what I've seen it like that.
Yeah, and then I switched it around and came up with the other image we saw before.
Yep.
But again, yeah.
I'm back again, guys. My internet, I just threw the iPhone out the window. You guys hear me? The screen sharing was a little too much, I think. With MediaCom. Can somebody send me some internet, please?
Yeah. We're gonna send it to you right now. Hold on.
Yeah, donate me some internet, guys, please. MediaCom is the worst company when it comes to bandwidth.
It's like Billy Bob's internet. It sucks. But I mean, don't get me wrong. We were just kidding about this before we even got on. He said he's probably got $10,000 worth of equipment and he's got a pile of shit for internet. But if that's all you offered, what else can you do?
Way better than your connection.
Yeah, it's like having a Ferrari. It's like having a Ferrari with a 1-inch exhaust. Is what I said earlier. It just doesn't make sense.
I'm an IT guy. I'm an IT director for a health company. I'm sitting here next to a stable diffusion server. I've been running machine learning on it, creating AI pictures and things like that, and creating text prompts, everything. I've been doing it for a lot longer than everybody else on Chat GPT. All of a sudden, that's a new thing they've been coming after on the internet. People are learning it, and it's pretty cool. It was a gaming system I had. Like I said, I got all this stuff, but no internet.
Well, I mean, you only offered so much in your area, so you got to kind of like, it's a crapshoot. You know what I mean? All you can do is take what you can get.
I'm hoping Starlink comes down here. Like there's certain spots and still can't get it, and mine is one of them.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Lucky Mo says, saw a guy who looked like Will Farrar in a store when I visited friends in Maryland's East Shore. Almost thanked him for the Anomalies work, but thought I would sound crazy if it wasn't Will.
Hey man, I'm on the Maryland Eastern Shore, so if you're anywhere near Salisbury, actually I drive all over for work. So when I'm hitting our programs up.
Yeah.
Hello. It's amazing how many people I've met, randomly, like when you go out places in DC and things like that. There's a lot of subscribers I actually knew and met through the channel. We've had them so many years. That's like you guys were just talking about what you guys were down there with Billy and everybody. Yeah. I never got a chance to get out there. I haven't actually met Chris, but I don't think I actually had met you in person yet.
No. Nope.
So, Tommy's a little far away, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few miles away.
I'm in Denmark. That's a bit away.
Yeah, it's a little hard to get to his house. Let's see.
Anyway, this picture we was on about before here.
Mm-hmm.
Because we spoke about having different satellite images on it, and I've actually found a third image, a satellite image of the same area, that again was a context image, which is not the highest resolution. But again, it shows in 3 different images that the same anomaly is present, and you can see the square, and you can see that wall where the light is. And notice there's only 2 lights in this image that is taken in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Same month as the last image we just looked at. So it's kind of like what can we do? We gotta build up the evidence. We gotta build up what we have. Now we got 3 different satellite images of the same anomaly, and in this picture you can see we even got a size and measuring of it also. So you know how wide and how big it is, and 145 meters is just as long as the Jupiter 2 UFO is wide.
Yeah.
So again, it's a huge object. It's not a house. It's factory sized. It's like it's hangar sized. It's airport hangar sized. It's huge. So it's not something tiny little object we're looking at. And I must be honest, I'm not quite sure I know what we're looking at, but the only thing I know is that it looks out of place and it looks artificially constructed. But is it an
entrance? Like it might have been a dam. Who knows? Something could have been something under there. It was a long.
Well, we know it's not natural, right?
Or something. Yeah, it's definitely got.
It's not natural. So even if we can't, and I always tell everybody we speculate on this channel because we just don't know what it is. However, we do know the difference between natural and unnatural, something that looks intelligently made, and that to me screams intelligently made.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no way around that. I mean, I don't know nature that does that.
Nope. No.
Nature does some beautiful things, I must say. So I've gotten to that with a lot of people over the years. Nature does make straight lines. It does make symmetry. It does make,
To a certain degree, yeah.
yeah, when it's thrown out on the surface of the
But
planet.
when you're
Amazing.
talking like 150-meter straight lines, walls, no, I don't believe in nature in this one. We're looking at something here, but the rumors about Mars is that there is an underground civilization on Mars. So if that is the rumors, in case that was true or is true, wouldn't it be natural to think that this could be an entrance or a giant air vent or what you call it, a delivery entrance, as we call it when I was in the hauling business, you know, where you came in from the side with your truck, whatever, or just an entrance in general. We don't know, because we don't know what it is we are looking at here, but the only thing we know is that it's not natural.
Oh, yeah.
It's a weird one.
Without a doubt, you can just see that just not, it's just not natural at all. Question from Mr. Ricardo Petrazzi says, question for Will. Does he know how Hoagland is doing? Rich, is he really around these days?
You know, he still does his radio show once in a while. He's got a little health issues here and there, trouble getting around, but he's still kicking, still sending emails and stuff like that. I'll see him fly through my email box all the time, and he'll have the picture or something, or one of the group. There's about 10 people on a feed that come back with Richard. And he's doing good. You know, Hogo was one of those people that I always respected. You know, I disagree with him a bunch of times on the show for different things. You know, I was one always just a fanboy or whatever, what they say. So, but he's doing really, you know, not as good as he was 10 years ago. He's still there kicking.
I don't know if anybody's that good at 10 years ago.
Yeah. He had lost his better half, you know, that it's always tragic.
Yeah, it's never good.
No, bless him and rest in peace.
Yeah, the work he's done. Yeah, so if he went on coast to coast in the middle of the night, I probably wouldn't have ever gotten into this stuff. It wouldn't even have looked. Yeah, coast to coast used to be what would bring me into the weird stuff. I'd drive to Florida for work, up and down I-95. Like we'd have programs, mental health company I worked for, so we'd have like programs all around Florida. So I drive from Maryland to Florida, and I do it at night because no one's on the road at night. So you could bounce here, bounce there. I could do it in 2 days, get to the Keys in 2 days. And that was like at night, you know, the 3 hours I'd be waiting for Coast to Coast to come on, and they'd be talking about, you know, whatever the most paranormal stuff is. And back then it was Art Bell and Nori and another lady that would come on. Richard would come on there and be so like, you know, hey, what's going on? We got this going on. Hey, we got the face. And he would just be so pumped up about it. I get the website.
Gotta love the enthusiasm.
Yeah. He would.
We got a couple other questions maybe you guys can answer too. It says Lucky Mo asks, how many survivors on Mars? Are they underground? Do they mess with the rovers, and do they have advanced tech?
I'll feel this to you guys. I'm always trying to blank on. I don't even think we could imagine to believe what we would know about. What, you know.
Well, I think for me, I think it's always been 50-50. You know what I mean? Because when you see the damage and the ruins on the surface of Mars, you can't help but to think, okay, first, complete annihilation. On the other side of the token, it's like us. If we knew there's a pending doom, maybe they got warning from this. If there's a pending doom, we have underground facilities everywhere. We have DUMBs, we have, you know, the deep underground, you know, military bases. We have tunnels that go out through the whole United States, literally underground. They travel for days underground, these 18-wheelers. So even if that was to a pending doom, would there be life still here on Earth? And the overwhelming yes, as far as I'm concerned, unless, of course, there was a big enough rock to just bust a planet in half. But then, so you can almost assume, not always, and that doesn't, you know, mean 100%, but that probably happened over there too. And you got a bunch of people coming out, like in a war-torn city anywhere on the Earth, they come out and they scavenge for stuff, and of course they try to find food and everything else. So you would think they'd be doing the same thing there, right?
We'd be pulling out. We're pulling like, you know, pulling up caves and things like that underground. I remember that Darren Cuyu and places like that, where, you know, there were literally 50,000 people could live underground. They didn't have the technology like we did, you know.
Right.
I think we've lost a step. You know, we've just gone in a different direction with our technology. But yeah, there's so much stuff to look through, especially when it comes to, you know, up on Mars. And the moon. So we haven't talked about the moon in a long time. I said I was. Have you done a moon lately video? There was some good stuff.
I did a while. I got one. I'm going to be doing soon, but I've done them in the past, not long ago. But most of them are Mars here. But we still do the moon. We cover the moon. We love doing the moon. Got a lot of crazy stuff on there.
Always something going on in the moon.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things.
Well, this one, Hung Meow, you said Mars was more advanced than Earth. I don't know how we can tell that. The only thing I can say is that, like, I've got a picture. I'm going to show a lot of you folks, because a lot of you folks are obviously have seen my videos. So later on, you know, we'll just throw in a couple photos that it looks like they had a lot of stuff that what we have here on Earth. Even things like vehicles type things. Now, what they are is a whole different ball game, but they look very similar to what we have, right?
So hopefully this won't blow me out. Did it?
No, we're good.
Is that too much bandwidth? This thing was cool. I've been wanting to do a video about this one for a long time. This thing is just sitting there because I got it from like 10 different angles, which I had on here, but I cleared out some memory. I'm not sure if I got them all now, but yeah, this whole area is just filled with stuff. This is from the Percy rover. I mean, what was that? You know, you guys seen that? You guys seen this picture before?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like they even teased it, you know, out on the like Twitter NASA site. Like, finding crazy stuff over the Halloween.
I've got to tell you a little funny story before you continue about the population on Mars, because one day we sat and played with Alexa, me and my wife. And we sat and asked Alexa a lot of questions. And one of the questions we asked is, Alexa, how big is the population on Mars? And it came back and said the population on Mars is on currently at about 6 million inhabitants.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, did you hear that? I said, my wife says, yeah, I did. And no matter how much we tried again, it wouldn't say the same again. We tried and we sat for half an hour and asked the same question over again and put different pronunciations out too.
You know why? You know why?
The same answer.
You know why? Because it's like the AI part of it went, oh shit, we weren't supposed to divulge that.
I think something like that. I don't know, but it's true. It's what it said. There was about, I think it said 6 or 8 million at current time on Mars. And that was a funny experience, and I just remember we tried to make it, Alexa say it again and again and again, and we couldn't. It wouldn't. That was only one time.
Yeah, literally, I love playing with the AI. So we'll get them battling each other here sometimes. We get bored, like with the Siri and Alexa, and have them talking to each other.
Yeah, have them battle it out.
Yeah, it's like, no, I can't hear you.
Now this is an oldie but a goodie right here, the platform.
Yeah, that was like this.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of like.
I mean, to me, how does anybody look at that and go, it's just a natural hill, where I see a hill behind it? And of course, there's many different photos, as you guys know that. Mm-hmm. There's a flat square that's out in front of this.
Yeah.
It's literally like there's structures here, and this looks like a foundation sticking out of the side of a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like to me.
I saw this one, I was excited. That's pretty cool. Because it even runs with, I mean, it looks like the place was definitely destroyed. It got hit hard. And it's the same here on a lot of our planes. Like, if you guys watched that Graham Hancock special,
yep.
I think that we have no clue what our true path is, or our true past.
Yeah, we're like, what do you say, a civilization with amnesia.
Yeah, exactly.
and I believe he's right. I really do.
Civilization.
It's all kind of comes together. You get your wonder about this stuff, and you get looking around us here. There's so much stuff here on Earth that we're just pulling out of, Turkey and all over. That's just buried up to 15 feet.
I remember that
happened here too. I think it was they talk about the Younger Dryas and things like that here, where stuff came in and just destroyed and peppered the Earth and peppered our solar system.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have happened. Could happen the same exact time.
I remember that square formation, and I remember seeing a grid on it, and it's measured to be 2 meters on the front side and approximately 2 meters on the left side also. So it's you actually got a dimension on it if you go back and look at it now. And now when you know it's 2 meters wide, then you can probably better put it together in your head what we could be looking at, what kind of foundation we're looking at. So this would be like a foundation on the size with a shed in your garden. Nothing more. That's the size we are talking about. I think it's really, really important to say that if we don't understand the size, we can't make out what we are looking at. So 2 meters on the front on that side where your arrow is now, and approximately 2 meters from the down left corner to where the sand begins on the other side. So that's an interesting picture, really interesting picture.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. So now they said out there it looks like a retaining wall or something that was out there. It could have been someone's yard, for all we know. So I'd sit on these videos for hours and just talk about it looks like this and that, but it's definitely this is one of the best. One of the ones I enjoy. That's
from the same Gigapane. That famous picture is where there are some rocks, and the way they're lined up in front of the rower, it creates an illusion of a face. And I remember that's just about 20 meters to your right side from where you are there. And I remember that picture that everybody posted and said, a new face on Mars and this and that. But when the rover came to the other side, you could actually see the rocks, how they were placed and why it looked like a face when you saw it from the other side. It was pretty cool, actually.
It looked like a face, and it looked like a really good one, too,
Yeah.
This was one that always it's two cut together from Saw 101. This is Curiosity. And to me, it just looks like animal carcass or bones or something, or possibly ribs coming up out of you or something.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
And back here is really strange too. Like it's got this little dome-shaped thing piece down. I'm not sure how big this was, but this was in Rock Nest. That I did like a whole 4-thing series on that way back then. The thing was amazing. The Rock Nest picture. That was one of the first ones that came back really crystal clear.
I actually remember the three of us, and I think Neville was in it also. We did a live about Rock Nest in the same area 6 years ago. That would be fun to see today.
Right, exactly. It's been a while. We've been doing this for a while, so this was always interesting. The whole area around here just strewn with this stuff that's layered out. It looks like it's layered out, and then with just.
If you go back to that other picture, go back to the last slide, and then look at the rock that's closest. That's the side closest to us, the one you had the platform.
This one.
All right, now go right down to the very center rock that's on this side of us, closest to us. You can actually see it. There's a rectangular design right down on the bottom. Keep going down with your cursor to the left a little bit.
This way?
That rock right to the right of it now. Right there. There you go, right there. Look closely. There's a rectangular cutout in that.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Sticking out the side of it. It's definitely like a...
There's one or two things, well, maybe 2 to 3 things in that rock. Wait a minute. You know what I mean? Now, is this stuff encrusted over the years? Is it part of manipulation that they're hiding it and that you're still seeing these little details? Makes you wonder.
It's an...
When you get down to this the size too, it looks good. This is one of my favorite ones.
Oh, that whole Gigapane is awesome, especially the one if you go all the way to the left side of it. It's brilliant. I mean, it's got a lot of cool stuff in it. But this is awesome itself.
Let's see what else we got going on here. This was all I'd always put something together just in an article on the website on what's up in the sky, and this was this random stuff. This was a cool one. I was like, this one.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Like some sort of, it looks like almost like a little dome shape. Almost like something carrying to, put your dishes in or something. Who knows?
Look, a stone toaster.
Yeah, right. Keep it back out. It looked like obviously carved pieces too around it. That's.
But now here's a perfect example. Why does that rock you just had the cursor over? Why does that right hand side be darker and there's a line?
Yeah. Almost like it was painted or something around it. It was. It like
doesn't make much sense, does it?
What actually hit it?
Yep.
Let's see what else we got here. I haven't looked through this one in a while. Been working on my new website.
735. That's an oldie. I remember 735. We got a lot of good anomalies from that soul. I've got a few. I remember.
This was one of my favorites too. Here, we had literally like blocks of various things that are cut, symmetrical. Almost like feet. Almost like this is basically a statue or two that it was just destroyed. Contemporized. I think when I look at this stuff, I don't get the sense of like people living, man. I get like that eerie, weird feeling sometimes. Like, man, this is like, yeah.
That's a nice slice in that big rock right there.
Yeah. And look at the side pieces too. It comes down and around.
I see. Here's the weird thing. I look at this and I don't see rocks. I see manipulated objects to make it look like rocks.
Yeah, metal.
That's what I'm seeing. And the reason why, and you guys will agree with this, because there's times where you see a photo where you see a rock and it's transparent. It's like 20-30% transparent. You can see like a white object behind it. So it's almost like they're putting this stuff over it in front of these objects to hide what they are, or they're changing this object into that. Now, is there rocks in this photo? Absolutely. But is it so well hidden, these other objects, to look like rocks amongst other actual natural rocks?
Look at the different.
Good question. I like that crack in the rock. That,
yeah. It looks like a cut.
Cut, and they just stopped before they went through with the saw. Yeah.
These are, and this was, I remember this when I came back, it came down, and this whole part, this is just a little baby piece of it, out of the photo. But a lot of interesting stuff. This down here I like too, how it's got it looks to be, it looks like the stuff can come out of the either Turkey or Egypt or anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What else we got on there? It's funny, I was trying to get to we're talking about how this is part of the same one. We lost all our files over the years. It's been so long. We're trying to find them as we're getting ready to come on. Show you guys stuff, go over some of the good stuff. This was the first one I found off that, where it was like, it looked like feet cut stuff. It was interesting about a lot of these where you have it, it's almost like there was perfect little bevels around everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can actually see, if you look carefully into some of these so-called rocks, look carefully, you can see like little squares and little circles right next to each other, and they're very faint. There's a reason for that, because it's an actual object, and they did what they could to cover it up. Now, I'm not saying every rock's like that. I'm just saying you got to look carefully over these gigapans, these photos, slowly peruse through them, and you can see what I'm talking about. You'll be going, what the hell? That don't look natural, like that slice right there in the rock. Okay? Mm-hmm. There's two of them. It looks like a T almost. One going horizontal, one going vertical.
Then you got the rest of your stuff here is designed. You got literally, it's like etched.
Yeah.
The etching's awesome. And these were really high. When I made these, I did these out of the PDS, right out of
right. Well, that's got to be the clearest you can pretty much get anyway.
It was pretty good. And now we're coming along with the AI and stuff, especially the image upscalers now, like they can do a lot more with the old images. I was
right.
Start running some of them through it and through the Stable Diffusion, letting it, iron it out, see what it looks like. When I ask all the time, I'll sit here and make images and learn how to prompt this AI, text to image thing. I ask it, hey, what would Mars look like if you got off your spacecraft and you looked out and you saw a civilization that died, 10,000 years ago? And the pictures that come up, I'll show you something here a little bit. They look like this. It's crazy. Like, and you can, just by backing off the stuff, like you can see, like, you can ask it what it would look like for different things, and you can pretty much see where, like, there's the gap between destroyed and what we see here, or actual stuff out there. It's like high-tech looking things. Like these, you can make some really cool high-tech looking things. But this one was pretty fun. So even though I had this one here was cool. This little piece right here. It's like every little thing is looks to be all chopped up. They say that could be. What else we got on there? You got any more?
I think the image in itself is amazing.
I'll switch back over to you guys.
Go.
Take the punt. You guys want it? What's going on in the chat room?
Who's in the chat room here?
So Chris is on. It's been a long week.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I know Ricardo was saying, take a look at MSL Sol 1100 left mass cam. Tell me that's not a river in the background. And I'm almost positive. I think I know which one he's talking about. It's crazy, some of the stuff that's in these photos.
Oh.
Daybreaker, you said the bones are made of metal. The ones that look like the vertebrae or the spine or whatever it was, the back on that almost looked like some kind of animal kind of spine type thing. There's, like I said, I think everybody who's ever looked at these pictures, I'm not talking about the people in the room now because they're pretty much savvy to all of this now, but as far as like if you showed any photo to somebody and said, what do you think of that? They just go, looks great. Where's that? Oh, that's Mars. Oh, okay. That's the end of it. To the people who really want to know, they're literally going, I'm going to take a magnifying glass. I always tell people use an eyepiece, a jeweler's eyepiece or a magnifier, and slowly go over these things. You don't want to zoom in your screen too much because then it breaks apart. So that's the worst thing you want to do. But you can literally zoom in just a hair bit and just go over real slowly. And you see these weird features in these so-called rocks. These weird things that should not be there. And you know what I mean? You just go, then you got to make your own decision. Is that natural or not?
Yeah.
Is that something that could happen in nature, or is it more ornate than natural?
Let me share a gigapan here, and let's talk natural or not, or coincident or not. Oh, I gotta click here first. Where are we at? We're here. And I gotta move you over here.
Go through the chat log here.
There we go. Do you guys remember this gigapan? I had it up the other day, the Fields of Jatan.
Mm-hmm.
This whole area is one big quarry site. One big quarry site. Everything you see here is rocks, rocks, and rocks. And no matter where you zoom in, you will see all the rocks are chopped up in smaller rocks. And you can see them lying in lines. You can see it's big rocks that is chopped out to smaller rocks, still lying in line. And even here you can see how the bedrock has been chopped up and lying next to it, ready to take up. Where the picture you showed me before, Will, with where you said with the statues, it looks like a statues at all. I would say that this is the kind of areas they would get the rocks from if they didn't have them where they was needed.
Mm-hmm.
Have a look at this one here, and this is amazing because you see all the rock, and then where are all the rocks in this little square? Where are they? Who took them?
You can see where they pulled them out. You can see the rows they took. Literally.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I can't hear you.
Or the waterway. One time, look at that. That's amazing. That's where they just spawn.
It's gone. Somebody took it, you know. The same you can see here. It looks like they have been digging from above, you know. And then you got the one I love over here. I love this one because you can see that there's a hole that goes straight down. And I did in the live yesterday, I talked about it, make a measurement mistake. But from here till about here is about 100 meters. And that means that the depth from here to down here is about the same. These big rocks are not small 1 meter rock. They are 10 times 10 meters, which would be 33 feet times 33 feet. That's the size we're looking at. So this is not a small little thing we're looking at. And you can see clearly that somebody took a bite of the side here. You can see it's still like fresh, dark in here. It's not like had this color like the rest of the surrounding have. It's still fresh. In the bottom, you got these walls here, and I was told there were sand dunes, which I would like to believe in, but I don't, because this is in the bottom of a hole. Sand dunes occur where there are wind streams, and the wind creates the sand dunes. If the sand fell down in a hole, it would just pile up in a big pile and not in 5 different walls like that. So I don't buy the sand dune. If you look at a sand dune, this is what a sand dune looks like. So I do not believe that it's sand dunes we are looking at in the bottom of this hole. To me, it looks like concrete walls. That's a part of a construction that is underneath. And I was saying the other day, one of my thoughts was like, if you have the metro in Copenhagen, for example, where I'm from, you need to do some repairing or change some pipes or whatever, you will have to get from above and down if you can't do it from inside out. And it looks like somebody has been doing a digging to repair something that was underneath and simply just left the hole there. So
we found the perfect stones to pull out of there. Basically.
Well, you can actually see some of the stones are straight in a line right there when you zoom in. You can actually see just outside on the right-hand side of it, it looks like this straight line of just stone. I went, wait a minute. If it's just random stones tossed about or just laying there, why would they have such a line?
Yeah. And if you look closer, you wouldn't be able to see a human on this because the resolution is 50 centimeters per pixel. But what you are able to see are these small cracks in between all the rocks.
Yep.
These are bigger, twice the size of a human's.
Look at that stone right there. The one you got just above that one. It's got a cutout right there. It's got 1, 2, 3 different angles.
Yeah, it does. And there is a lot of them. And there are so many of these. I'm getting crazy here because this is such a huge picture, and I've only been circling around in this little part. I have been around elsewhere also, but no matter where I go on this picture, I keep seeing lines of rocks that's chopped up, monoliths that's chopped up and still lying there chopped up, and you can see it's done in one block. A little bit like you can see over here. You can even see the curvature on the first rock and the curvature on the next rock. They were fitting together. You got the same over here. You can see it was once one block that's chopped up, and I think this was basically a giant quarry site. And if we talk about AI and technology, and we believe they have technologies back then on Mars, why wouldn't they have AI in the sky? Which means they would be able to take 1 or 2 pictures of the whole area from a drone, and the AI would tell you where you can find what size rock to your next project. So this is kind of like where I'm getting to. I believe we're looking at an ancient quarry site. And then I was told that these pathways, they were just mud cracks. I don't believe that either, because mud cracks don't go up on elevated areas and continuing like they're doing.
Look at that, straight up
over here.
Straight up,
Say what?
It went straight up and over. Look at that, to the left. And they cross each other. It's I mean, even if it was cracked, or bubbled, that's it.
It's a good example of an elevated area. It goes up. These are not mud cracks. These are unpurposely made pathways. I was thinking, and remember that they are minimum 10-15 meters wide, which would be about 30-40 feet minimum.
Okay.
So I think they were designed to carry rocks on that was chopped out. That was designed to carry, distribute them away to wherever they needed it to be. But I was suggested it could be waterways, and there was on that theory before that could be old water canals, and they were sailing the rocks. But if we're talking AI technology in the sky, they probably also have AG technology, just like Edward Levinsky from that built Coral Castle, removed his castle, single man. And if they had that technology that at that time should be a simple technology, but even though we don't understand it yet, then all they would need would be some wide pathway they can push their rocks on while they're levitating in the air. And that is what I think we are seeing here, because these are not natural mud cracks or anything like that. I have one more place I just want to take you before I stop talking, because if I don't show you now, I forget about it. There is there is a place down here somewhere, and it might take me a little while to find it, where all these roads are connected in a roundabout in an island. Here we go. It's up here. And this is what I mean. All these pathways are interconnected. This one here, that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, it looks like a roundabout.
That's 6 roads that are connected in the same island, or roundabout here, as you call it. You call them roundabout in America, the islands in England, and we call it something else in Denmark.
The circles, they're basically the traffic circle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yield to the people inside the circle.
Yeah.
So that proves to me that these are not mud cracks. These are not random cracks. They are artificially created pathways that are still there. And maybe it's just a normal pathway, like we have a natural walkway along our lakes. Maybe it's paved with something. But as I'm seeing it, the whole essence in having all these pathways here is to be able to distribute rocks out of the area.
Yeah, it would make sense. You know, that's pretty cool right there, especially how they all come together.
Well, here's the other weird thing too. If a lot of these rocks, you'll know, like you look at Jean Ward's channel, a lot of the stuff he shows from satellites, there'll be a stone. Oh my! And it's a funny thing. I'm going to put it like the Flintstones. You see it like a top slab, but always on the top of that slab is some kind of. I seen one time he had like 6 squares on top of it. There was just one boulder, or it looks appearance of one boulder on every one of these. What are the chances of that? So is it possible we're looking at structures and we don't even know it?
It is, and I think that is what's going on when we're looking at it from above here.
Perfect camouflage.
Yeah, it is perfect camouflage. I think we are looking at structures, and some of them big mounds. We see. We spoke about earlier before we started here about MSL 1448A. That's a good example of what is believed to be constructions underneath the sand, and we look at it as mounds on Mars because that's what we is led to believe it is. But I think we got so many constructions up there that are hidden underneath. All that sand, just like we have it in Egypt, and they're still finding new stuff in Egypt.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, down in the jungles and things like that, they're gonna find in Africa. We're finding around the world right now. It's under and under and under. You really got to dig to get to it. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just find it weird that a lot of people make the assumption that they should have structures identical to ours. What if you wanted to keep a certain temperature all the time? What would you do? You go in your backyard, you dig about 6 feet in the ground, and it stays at temperature around 50, 55 degrees all year long. What if you were to burrow yourself into a butte, a mountain, or anything of that sort? No radiation. Keep you at a constant temperature. What's the chances of anything hurting you, like let's say a bad windstorm? You're inside a mountain. What the hell could happen to you? So there's so many ways that you could burrow into these things and build structures into them. I mean, you know, or we're being, well, I think it's a balance of both, that the powers that be are literally centering these things out to make them look like nothing more than just buttes and mountains and so on and so forth.
We got a VIP in the chat room here.
Yeah, I see that. Mr. Mars X3D.
Mars
What's going on, Dave?
Dave Gannett, how are you, Dave?
Yeah, I just noticed that too. I was like, man, look who just jumped in there.
Check out Mars X3D on YouTube. That's the new technology within 3D viewing. It is awesome, and everybody should learn about it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Mars X3D.
So I've been doing this like the what are they, Magic Eyes books when I was younger.
Yeah.
We get them a thing that have the color behind it, and you see the picture in it.
Yeah.
My eyes work. I do it the same way with my eyes. Like cross them real quick, come out, and the things look great.
Yeah, I mean, he actually teaches you step by step how to do that. And what's cool about it is if you see an anomaly, you literally, if you do that and you do that perfectly with your eyes, it literally kind of pops out at you, and it becomes a lot more realistic. You know what I mean? Instead of the 2D version we're used to seeing.
And especially and you really, because we have both sides. That's what's nice about the rovers. They have the left and the right, so you always get that stereo.
Yeah,
you can always get that. It's one thing that we have amazing as humans to do, especially when you see it coming out of the pictures like that. Because a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people know that you know, put the pictures together like that. You can do it. So.
David says you all look great and
sound better. Oh, you're gonna make us blush, Dave.
Because we want to be like you, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mars 3D. Listen, seriously, on a serious note, like I said, we're just dropping this plug for him, but it's a good channel to actually look at. He's got a lot of great stuff on there. Mars X3D, The Evidence. If you just go to that channel, you won't be disappointed. Good stuff. And he does a lot of good work.
You can find his group on Facebook also, the same name, RSX3D. Go join them.
Got tons of his stuff posted out there on my website, back through the articles, and literally it's
I was just reading here, sorry. What did you say, Will?
I said it's amazing. Like I've got so much of his stuff back on the website, just tons of it. He put out really good stuff. And I said, now I noticed when I pull up the feed on Facebook a lot, he's got stuff out there too. So
David was with us from the beginning, from the very beginning, before we even started. We had David with us, I remember.
Yep. And we got to meet him over down in Alabama at the Mars conference. Great guy. Down to earth. Oh, he's actually giving you a little love here. He says Thomas did a new intro for the season's for this season's episode. Check it out, even if you don't watch the rest of it. So yeah, I mean, you're pretty much a master at that. So, and he gets credit for my intro, Mr. Thomas, right there. So you can thank him for that. Not afraid to give some love. But absolutely, I mean, Oh, now somebody mentioned something about.
Thank you.
Somebody mentioned something about UFOs. What do you guys think? Let's get into that.
UFOs are interesting. That's really, really. I gotta change my background if we gotta talk about UFOs. Hang on a second.
Mine's just the aurora
borealis. I had this one up before just for the fun of it, and it actually.
Yeah. Thomas is gonna get abducted. Look, they're coming up behind him.
Actually, I just came back from abduction.
That was nice. Yeah, he came back just so he can get on the show.
5 minutes before we did our test here, so that was great.
Yeah. I don't. There's a lot of channels I see doing things about UFOs. And we were just talking about this before, prior getting on the live feed, and I said, listen, for me, all the stuff I've seen on the moon, I brought out. You guys have done the same as far as a lot of Mars and stuff like that. I don't think UFOs are a big deal to me. Because we know there's life out there. People are going, is it ours? Is it theirs? Well, come on. Chances are, if there's life on or civilization anywhere in our solar system, guess what? Then chances are there's UFOs. You know what I mean? I told you not to show you my ship. Now look what he did. Just hide the license plate. Oh.
Basically, I've been making some graphics for my website. And
looks cool. Looks sweet.
I basically put it all AI generated. So I've been making UFOs for a couple of days. You sit there. It's
and this is the reason why we call him the tech guy.
It's amazing what the text to chat models are like. Over here, it's like you.
And I'm working on a documentary again about UFOs. Will, I gotta call you after this.
We gonna talk.
I gotta have a serious talk.
We gonna talk.
I got some. I could pretty much make you anything now and then. That's what you guys gotta be careful now. If you see something on the internet, it might not be real. Like I said, the fake stuff they show you on, that's nothing compared to something like the stuff that.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm getting at. So, how do you know what to believe and what not? I mean, if you say it's from, okay, the Pentagon showed us this. Okay, I'm down with that. Here's the problem with it: night vision, infrared. Whatever. You never see it on a clear day. If I seen something like the first one he put on there, and I seen it literally in front of my face, I'd probably shit myself. And then I would know for real that it's real. But all I keep seeing is this fuzzy green, the night vision going on. You never see anything of any importance. So is it not? Remember they kept saying there's going to be a UFO invasion? They're going to throw that at us? Aren't we already having that? Think about it. The Pentagon's putting it out like we're being invaded by aliens. I think it's bogus. I'm not saying there's no UFOs out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying I don't believe that a lot what they're showing is the real deal. It's like they're trying to steer the populace somehow. I don't know why and how, but why would they do it? But maybe they're trying to get you up to that speed. Like there are aliens, and then if it ever slips out something about Mars, guess what? We were right all along.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I tell you what, when it comes to UFOs, it's a much bigger misinformation than Mars ever. You know what I mean? It's literally like UFOs. They ratchet it up. They use it to rat people up.
Oh yeah.
We have no clue what's in our skies. I mean, it's been going on forever. There's pictures over, been things over the White House, back in the 60s.
Yeah, that was the 50s or 60s, wasn't it?
Once we started letting off the bombs and we started playing around with Mother Nature like we did, they showed up.
Yep.
That's actually, or a lot of people say, well, it's been here, but you know.
Well, they're also
showed
saying
up.
if
Police
you
showed up, basically.
yeah, well, here's the thing: if they say, well, we're seeing a lot more, you know, sightings, well, that's because we got better cameras. Everybody's walking around with a camera in their pocket now, so obviously we're going to see a lot more of it now. For some reason, you can never get something super clear, and you would think the military, of all damn things, would be able to get something super clear, and yet, I don't know about you folks, I never see anything clear come out of the Pentagon, a warship, or any of that sort. Now, we did see the Tic Tac UFO and how that thing moved around.
But you didn't really see it. You just saw a light or, you know, that little piece of whatever.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys are looking at it, you're looking at this page here. This is basically a text image. I type in a photograph of a highly advanced alien spacecraft. You give it a prompt and it returns an image. So these are just basically some of the ones that I was doing. So I wanted a UFO for the thing. I said, you know, I might as well choose from 100 of them.
Yeah.
So I decided to run.
They are awesome, really awesome.
Yeah, look good.
I was interviewed by a newspaper a few days ago because I have created an event in Denmark. So everybody that is in Denmark now listen out. The 25th of March, which is in 20 days, I have created a public, and it's the first public sky watching for everybody that's been announced on social media, where you don't have to be a member of any organization and you don't have to pay anything. So I've created an event in Denmark called Sky Watching, and it's called UFO Base Camp 2023. And so far, Denmark is a little country. So far, there's 53 people that signed up for it and find it interesting. So I hope to get a little bit more. And the whole purpose about getting all them people to come out to that lake where I am for about 24 hours together with them is to create a network in between those people who believe in UFOs in Denmark. So I have arranged, and this is arranged by me, not by any organizations. I have arranged a sky watching for everybody that wants to come out and learn a little bit about ruling satellites out, ruling planes, helicopters out. What is it we're looking at? What's a star and what's a planet and what could be something else? And in that matter, I was interviewed by a newspaper a few days ago to make a short story long or long story short. That's too late now anyway. And they, I said to them, yeah, but 90% of the people who are looking up or are just by coincidence looking up and see something in the sky have already predetermined before they even see it that what they're seeing is not anything natural. So their brain will go into their little library and automatically the wind speed wheel will spin and the arrow will point at aeroplane, helicopter. And that's something that happens automatically in people's brain. It's a psychological process that you don't even think about. And I bet you that 97 of those 99 who does that see something sometimes about realizing that they actually seen something extraordinary. Because we are used to it's just a plane and you don't give it a thought. It's already processed. You don't need to think more about it. It's nothing.
Right.
It's just a plane.
Well, it's something you see all the time, right? So if you see like a regular airplane, you see a plane in the air, oh, it's a plane. You don't think nothing of it. Suddenly you see something different, you know.
So I've invited the whole Denmark to this sky watching event in Roskilde. And I hope to meet a lot of new people. And I hope to make a lot of new good networking with those people in the UFO environment in Denmark also. And you can find it on my Facebook profile. You can read about the event there also. It's pinned on my Facebook.
I don't know if anybody's interested in this stuff. This is the stuff that I basically had the AI create what it would look like, you know, to find, come here, take your spaceship, land, look out, and you basically see an ancient ruined civilization.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad you brought this up, Will. I'm glad this picture alone, and you guys know because we've talked about this before in the chat, where you know there's people out there, there's channels out there that are showing these CGI photos that have these, it'll show like some weird stuff, like something that you'd see in Egypt, and they're literally superimposing it into these photos of Mars. and they're going, look what we found on Mars, and they're getting hits from it. The sad part about it is they're lying to the people that are watching their channel.
And those people they're on the shorts too now. So they're short videos. It's like 15 seconds. People don't even have to realize they just got, bamboozled by some stupid picture. And I guess, it's dragging money to their site. People, there usually seems like it's money, it comes down to that. Because I don't see why else you would do it. Literally, it drives me nuts. There's like 3 or 4 of those channels that do that.
Right. There's at least that many. And I'm going, if you've seen other channels like yours, mine, Thomas's, anything like that, if you've seen that, don't you think we would see that first? I mean, we're digging these things up constantly. We're constantly hitting up NASA JPL sites. We're constantly hitting up. So you know as well as I do that if there's anything like that, it would confirm 1,000,000% that there was actually life. And they're going to make it difficult for you to see this. It's as simple as that.
I started making videos in the first place. And if you go back, because I give the link to the pictures to people.
Yeah, exactly. It's the best way to do it.
I was so tired of coming around and finding stuff on YouTube that did not have links. So I was like, I start my video out with them, like, here's where they're at. Back when, especially when I used to do it.
Yeah.
It's like put it up on the screen, but now the URLs changed so much. I probably, that's one thing that has happened over the years. Some of those pictures aren't where they used to be.
Yeah.
But this one right here was funny because there's an actual picture that looks just like this, that came down from the rover. It's not that color. But they said these are just fake pictures that I had it make up of what it would look like. And look, I mean, ruined civilization on Mars. It's kind of a lot of the stuff that we're looking at now. I mean, it looks like it comes.
Well, exactly right. Now, is it possible, and I believe it is, that NASA's using the same kind of AI, and it's not perfected yet? This is the reason why you can see bits and pieces laying all over the place, and you go, wait a minute. Why is that part showing with no problem and the rest of them, they're like trying to blur that one out? I don't think they're doing it by hand anymore. I think it's AI, and it's just not perfected yet, and that's how we're able to get into these photos, and some of them enhance them. Like I said, there's a lot of lines in these photos. Even if something's overlaid over the original photo, once you pull the lines out, you start seeing weird stuff on there that just doesn't make sense. And you go, wait a minute, this looks like something more modern, something intelligently made, and not something that's like basically natural, right? So it's just ornate things. It just doesn't make sense.
As this comes up, it gets a little bit. I started bringing the age up, like how it was sooner. So it starts the actual structures are still there a little bit more. And I've seen stuff that looks just like this. It's kind of funny though. It's like when I started going through it. Then you can make like the cartoon you're watching when I was just pulling up. You can make the cartoon looking cities of Mars. Just whatever you want to do with it. But like I've seen stuff that looks just like this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really a whole different world now when it comes to manipulating pictures that are already out there. Like I could take this picture with the seed. You have a seed and you have a prompt. Basically, the prompt is what you ask it, and the seed is a random number that you can go back and make it again.
Mm-hmm.
So otherwise, you can never make that. You can't make it again. But yeah, that was the last of them. So yeah, I just want to share that with people. I thought that was kind of cool, especially because
That's cool, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you need some UFOs, we can hook you up with some for your videos, man. Whatever you need.
I prefer real pictures, but we do make animations.
I'll take the other one. I'll take the one that had the turbo plasma engine. I'll take that one there. Yeah.
You're only gonna get 30 miles.
But I mean, so what do you guys think about the actual? We've talked about this many times on the live feed and stuff like that. What do you guys think about the theory of panspermia? Do you think we came from Mars?
I don't know where we came from. I mean, it's a magical thing.
I think we was on Mars. We didn't come from Mars. We came from somewhere else. But Mars was one of the planets in the solar system that we went to. Was we on Mars first? Was we on Earth first? We know that there was a slave race, and you can read up on that on ancient history if you read into Enki's tablets.
Oh, yeah.
Described the Ichichi on Mars. It's been there for thousands and thousands of years, and it was also the Ichichi that was left on Mars when the cataclysm occurred. And they have been there for so many thousand years that that time already had built inside Mars instead of out on the surface. They built inwards instead and done that. So lots of life on Mars.
Well, I mean, like I said, I was trying to remember that site I was telling you about earlier, but there's a site on Popular Mechanics. There was an actual, write-up about that where they're saying scientists now believe we came from Mars. So it still fits in with the IgG, and it still fits in with a lot of that. How do we know that it wasn't just panspermia, which means just DNA kind of thrown on a rock or something like that, or some kind of life-giving kind of thing going from, Mars being hit, and then that's coming to Earth and then starting life on this planet. That's basically the theory of panspermia. So is it possible there was either a pending doom on Mars, they knew about it, and they took off and came here? Now, people will go, well, then there should be like a lot of technology still left here. Well, that's not true. If we all took off, let's say everybody in the chat room, and we knew Earth had a pending doom, we all flew to another planet, how do you build another structure? So you don't. You just live in that spacecraft till it's no longer livable. You have to build from scratch and start from new. So, for me, I would just think, we came from there, and whatever way, panspermia, the other stories of the IgG and all this going on, it's a very good possibility. I believe we did. We actually came from Mars. Now, is it possible, like we're in a giant neighborhood, Earth being just one of the neighbors, and they bounce around from planet to planet, and they happen to come here and settle. I don't know. We don't know the full answer, but we do know, like from the stories, like we're talking about, how they were on the moon and Mars. If you read that story, they talked how they mined the moon, and they talked how they mined a lot of Mars as well, and they like you said, they basically built underground, above ground. So, you know what I mean?
Give him the moon and Enki stayed on the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Alalu was sent to Mars, so was Ansu. So if you look into ancient history, you can find a lot of reading that could give you the answers you're looking for.
Yeah, pretty much.
Perception of how you read it.
Yeah. Like I said, I think they were a lot like we were. Now, when I say that, I mean they were way back when. They were a lot like what we are today. I believe there was ancient stuff, and I believe there was more modern stuff like we have here on Earth. Like we have real ancient civilizations like, the Egyptians, so on and so forth. And then we have a lot more modern. You go to Dubai, it's a modern city on this Earth. I mean, they're crazy rich and got a lot of money over there. And it's a lot of new technology. We want to be spacefaring again. We want to go out there. We want to just... So everything from extremes to like, villages or just indigenous people on these certain islands, they never even heard of a watch. All the way up to what we are now, we want to travel the stars. So there's a huge variable on this planet.
It fits with the correlations of the cataclysm on Mars was about 12,000 years ago, and that was just after our last ice age.
Yep.
And so according to religion, we were here 2,000 years before Christ, the birth of Christ. That's where the Bible takes us to. And if you look at the inscriptions and tablets that's found, we were here 15,000 years before the birth of Christ. And that correlates with the cataclysm on Mars. So those that fled on Mars, where did they go to? Or are they doing what they're trying to make Elon Musk doing now, create starships that can go once a month to another planet somewhere else and take 200 people every time, or even more? Are we slowly fleeing on our own planet without realizing it? Is it the same that's happening now, or why are we trying to go back to Mars?
Right. Well, I mean, people ask the question all the time. They'll say, why does Elon want to get to Mars so bad? One, he's in. In other words, he knows everything there is to know. He's subcontractor, works alongside of NASA, JPL. We know that. He helps bring supplies up to the ISS. He also knows, listen, again, if you're a multimillionaire, you can easily, quietly ask a firm to build you a small satellite, send it up there yourself, take photos, send the information back, you know what's up there. Yeah. And that's prior to him working with NASA, prior to that. So now he's in the know, so he's going, I'd love to die there. He actually said that, I want to die on Mars. But he also wants to start a huge civilization. Why? Because if we're just one planet that's got life on it, and a big rock hits this planet, we're done. we're done.
As far as I know, the Mars 1 mission has been put a little out in the distance. So I am thinking about Mr. Musk. Is it because that if he waits 10 more years, then he might be able to go in a spaceship that can take him back again?
Possibility.
Or because
Sure.
now it would be a one-way ticket until we figure something out down here that can return, just like we do with the Falcon rockets. They're coming back.
It's already coming back now. So
if
yeah.
you can do the same with the Mars rocket, but it will mean that you will have to land on Mars. You will have to refill your rockets. That means you will have to have resources ready, and in this case, the resource would probably be water.
Well, then again, though, it also depends on the propulsion to be using.
Yes.
We don't know that either.
Exactly what I'm saying. The resources you would need would be water, because you can make a car run on water by taking out the Brent and igniting it. We've seen that before. We know that exists.
Yep.
Ask yourself, for example, Teotihuacan, the flat pyramids there that have all the flat roofs.
Yeah, they kind of look like a landing pad.
It says to be a landing pad. Ask yourself, why do you think they are surrounded in a little basin?
Yeah.
All the way around.
Yep.
And if you look at it from above, it looks like a microchip.
Yeah.
If you fill that basin or the whole area up with water,
it looks like a circuit board. It looks like a
You got a conductor as well, also. So I think that water is the future fuel for.
Oh yeah, hell, we're making hydrogen cars now. We have hydrogen cars and everything. So it's not out of the question, right?
So if they're going to have something coming up there that has to go back, we should be starting already now in collecting those resources, and it will probably take us 5-10 years to collect enough to send a rocket back. So they are sending up AI, and they are sending up robots, and they are sending up 3D printers.
Mm-hmm.
Probably have done it a long time now.
Well, my thing is too is like they said. Remember, they said that in the very beginning when they were going to go to Mars before the astronauts get there. They want to have 3D printer robots kind of thing, build these objects or these structures they'll be sitting in. And then, of course, they'll come along and everything will be fine. My biggest thing is, what if everything on Mars has not been obliterated? In other words, you can still live in them. So would they have to build anything? And this is nothing more than just a ploy to get the public to go, yeah, man, I'll give all the money I can just to have you guys do that. You know what I mean? I think it could be either or. You know what I mean? Because not every structure probably on Mars is completely obliterated.
We've seen many examples of entrance to inner Mars, and we've seen many. Just take, as I said, the Jupiter 2 UFO we saw earlier in the beginning. That could have been something that was landed and left there 40,000-50,000 years ago, made of material that ain't decaying. If somebody finds that 15,000 years later that have no clue what it is, they would be like, whoa, you can actually go inside. That's pretty cool. There's nobody in here. There's nothing in here. And when they have been playing in there as a kid and grown up with this thing over there that's hollow and get older, and their kids come in there, they would be like, that's something we don't really know what it is, but our parents played there when we were little. We played there, just like the Indians.
Yep.
The Hopi Indians are telling them their stories and introducing them to whatever they learned about. It's kind of the same way. If you find a structure like that in the Stone Age, this is what I think we're talking about with the Baltic Sea anomaly also. I think it could have been something that came from outside, but it's been there for so many thousands of years that it must have been occupied by somebody else if it has been occupied.
Oh, yeah, because, it can have a multi-person use, right? In other words, generations
Like
or whatever.
Reoccupy it over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, just
like we do with the pyramids. We do it with the pyramid.
Exactly. You've seen the way they did that, right? The original pyramid, and then, of course, other civilization come along. When I say civilization, other people came along and built on top of it. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
The carvings and all the reliefs there, the people that are in the pictures do not look like the modern day, Egyptian people. It's definitely, who knows what.
Let's see.
How many people have changed upon it. So.
Mr. Ricardo Petrozzi says, I think the ancient past, human civilization spanned our solar system, and this civilization was known as the Atlanteans. Atlantis was the ancient name for our planet. So
you ever seen that Eye of Sahara? You've seen them talking about that out there, possibly the rickshaw or whatever. I'm pulling up. They said this probably bright idea was on Joe Rogan. I was watching it, and it's amazing, this spot. Like, it meets pretty much a lot of what Plato said where Atlantis could be. It's in the middle of that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I've done a video on that. Yeah. It's actually buried in the ground. It looks like a giant disc in the ground. Yep.
And you can see where it looks like like I said, if there was like they talk about the Younger Dryas, which would have been 12,000 to 15,000 years ago. We got peppered by a bunch of space debris, came in and tore up the solar system.
Yeah.
Right here through Mars, and you can see like where they said water, like the Great Flood, all the stories of the Great Flood, 200-foot high water. Imagine what that would just do. And you can see how it just wipes all the salt out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
In the whole area. Just going to pull that up.
Yeah, I mean, there's some crazy things going on, and the way he describes it, when you see like there's outer rings of land, and then of course you got rings of water, right to the center. So that's pretty cool. And it's, what do they call that? The you'll find it in a second. Yeah,
the Eye of the Sahara. It's like the rickshaw. Something. I watched it a million times now. It's funny what stays with them, what doesn't. Yeah.
I want to thank you again, Ricardo, for the continued support. You're awesome. And, yeah, I agree. I mean, there's so many things. That's what things about human beings. We're always trying to find where we came from. Where do we, how did it start? Where did we come from? Was it just, we're just a small step? We don't know, right? The Eye of the Sahara. Yep. But they call it the, and I got it on the tip of my tongue, but I can't pronounce it. The Richat, yeah. The Richat structure. Now, I've done a video on that, and it's much more than the photos they show you. There are structures in there.
Yeah. When you pull it up and look at it tight, yeah.
You got to look at it the way they show it from ground, and then they have like an airplane going on, kind of like this here. And some of them are satellite views, but some of them, when you get in there, there are actually structures in this. They're being covered up. They don't want people to see what's really there.
Oh, it's in the middle. It's hard to get to. It's in the middle of nowhere. Literally, it's right now. At what time it was a water, paradise. Most of the gold on Earth was here at one time, populating this area. It wasn't. There's a very rich area. So that there, God knows what's in this place. A lot of it's probably washed out to sea. Man, whatever could do that type of damage. I wish I had the whole shot here, because it's just like what was on the, pulled up on Twitter first. On Google, it's just the worst now when it comes to stuff. Yeah, I can find stuff better on Reddit. Should have gone there. Let's see. Yeah, they got a lot of good pictures of it. But it does. It kind of matches exactly what it said. The guy did a great video. I think it was Bright Insight was the channel.
Yeah. Yep. There's another comment here. Amanda Boari, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing this correctly. It says, if man can't get down to the depths of the ocean, how does a man get to Mars? Well, here's the thing. We have been to the deepest part of the ocean, which is the Marianas Trench. We have been there. And I think there's one more either off the coast of Japan or China that's slightly deeper than that, but we have been there. And, there's a lot more pressure under the ocean than there is out in space. This is where it differs. So, but you're right. I mean, it was extremely difficult. Every time they try a diving bell, it literally would crush it like a grape. So the pressure underwater is ungodly. But here's the weird thing. When you go down to the Marianas Trench, and I remember seeing this, where they had a camera outside the window of this diving bell, and there's literally bioluminescence creatures under the water. I'm going, how do they swim under there? If you and I went under there at that depth, we'd be crushed instantly. How does that happen? It's got to do with body mass and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, and the way of course, like, I don't know, construction of the body, whatever. But there's no pressure in space as opposed to when you're talking the deepest depths of the ocean.
No, the ocean is huge, and we've only explored about 5% of it.
200-foot wave. What really where everything is, where all the good artifacts and stuff are. Yep. There's still stuff buried in the sand. There's a lot of the ocean probably. Yeah. It's exciting.
See, the thing now, if we get back to Mars, when we were talking about the two, somebody had mentioned in here too about the two large explosions, and we've talked about this before, but people who are here now, and probably hadn't heard this, but the two large explosions next to, there's actually one larger explosion than the other, and it was next to the face of Cydonia, and then there's another chaos region they call it. and I'll show you this in a second. It's funny because you can see it. It's like it looked like it was happening in the ocean. Excuse me. And funny enough, all the landers and the rovers and everything else are all around that area, just south and east and west of that area. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about J.E. Bradenberg's work where he talks about the possible nuclear fission on Mars, basically the areas that were wiped out.
Exactly. Well, you can see right here, nuclear explosion, prevailing winds, of course, is blowing into Cydonia Mensa. And then you have a smaller explosion, a Galaxia Chaos. And this is only just a couple of the rovers. There's one that shows every one of them. Insight Lander, the Viking, which was in this area here, the Viking, very original Viking. Now, these are higher elevations, obviously blue being the lowest. So this was probably all ocean at one time. And funny enough, here's the thing. I gotta get something to drink before I die here. Funny thing though, if you were going to explore a planet, what part of the planet would you explore?
I would explore that part that wasn't water 10,000 years ago, but the land masses, basically all the lower half of the of the image. So you can see it says Curiosity Row and Opportunity Row. The ancient Mars had lots of water, and half the planet was covered in water, just like ours is.
Right.
So when you look, so I would definitely go for something about equator.
Exactly. Equatorial region, right around the water. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of humans live next to water, right? They live right on the beaches and stuff like that. So you're going to go to the warmest part of the planet, because that's where, if anything grew, it'd be there, because of a lot of sunlight, warmth. And guess what? Like I said, every one of them is all over in this area. The landers, rovers, they're all just southwest and east of this whole area. Why would you do that? Well, you want to see what caused it, because there is proof that there was explosions on there. We know that. Was that Xenon-129, I think it was, and other chemicals that leave traces. So you have all of this going on, and you're like, okay, so why are they all there? Now, don't get me wrong. The Curiosity rover and the Opportunity are not like 2 miles apart. They're a good distance apart. I forget exactly what they are apart, but they are. And there's all of the crafts and landers and everything else are all in these areas. Like I said, the Viking was right here. So we have Perseverance is over here. We got all of these. But why? Why? Because of that simple reason. There was life on this planet. There was total destruction in this area. And they're probably just going there for a recon mission. They're picking apart whatever there was left of this civilization. I think so. This is another good one I love. This, and everybody here has seen this except for a few. And anybody who hasn't seen this, we'll let you give you the first shot to actually tell me what you think this is, because a lot of people, I always do this. I never just tell them what it is. And you can see the ID numbers, the PIA 06701. And this is a Spirit rover. I think this is in Spirit. It's either that or Opportunity, one of the two. I believe this is Opportunity, now that I think about it. So according to this, there's a crater over here on the left-hand side, but we have a 360 degrees. So this is a pan, okay? What's funny about it...
All I see is that map still. I wonder if it's just my internet, my slow internet down here.
No, you still got the map up here.
Still got the map up on ours.
So it shouldn't be, because I got it over here. It's on showing it. Now, when you see this... right in the middle of the screen.
Maybe it's on there.
I'll let people...
I've got the map up also, yeah.
I'm showing it right there live on mine.
Are you?
Yeah, it's live on the stream here. If you guys are watching the stream, you can see that.
It's live on the stream on the computer, YouTube.
Yeah.
Good old Zoom.
So...
Not on Zoom. Okay, I will go. We'll have a look at the live stream here.
Anybody who sees this in the middle of this, you try to figure out what the hell that is.
You're right.
And I don't know if you guys got a good guess on it, but I didn't want to say anything right away. When you first see it, you're going, okay, I showed a couple people this photo. In fact, I still got the photo here underneath my counter here. Did a Polaroid and copied it right from the site. And everybody I showed looked at this thing and said, I don't know, it looks like some kind of Jeep. And at first they kind of chuckled because they're like, I guess it's that. I said, listen, there's no right or wrong answer, because we don't know what it is, right? But it actually looks like some kind of weird vehicle. Now, I'm going to back out of there. Look here. Upper right. Okay, it doesn't look like much. Just looks like a bunch of rocks. No big deal. Now, if I can find the other one, which I enhanced, and I probably won't find it because I'm looking for it. Let me see. I don't know if I got it in here. I should have. Let me see. Space 1999. Oh, let's see. I think this is right in the way here, isn't it? Maybe I'll pull it down.
Got a slight 25-second delay. Try refresh your turn your screen share off and turn it on again.
Okay. This is enhanced. Now have a look at these objects. Everybody I showed said, I'll be damned if those don't look like some kind of vehicles. This one up here, partially, it's almost 3/4 buried up to the door. This one looks like some kind of Jeep. Is that what it is? Okay. No way of knowing that. We couldn't, even if it looked exactly like what we have here on Earth, it wouldn't matter. You can't vet any of it. The thing is, though, when I first started, I did some photo years ago, what looked like a vehicle. People laughed. They're like, oh my God, that's so silly. Well, hold on. If we're getting scientists saying we came from Mars, is it possible we did and that we had the same kind of ideas that they did or whatever? I don't know. But you would think at this point, anybody who's on any planet, they got to get around somehow. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that these are like some kind of weird vehicle, although they look like that. Some people go, oh, that's silliness. Well, how do we know? Let's say they are. They're some kind of vehicle. They look very similar to ours. Doesn't mean it's powered the same way. Could be fusion. Could be some kind of weird thing. We don't know that. But for me, when I see that, I see what looks like some kind of vehicles washed down a hillside. I'll just back it out so it doesn't look that grainy. Somebody said moving closer. Bring the lines out through this. You can see where they looked like they kind of just did this. There's something else right there. I'm not sure what the hell that is, but it doesn't matter. This all right here. What do you guys call it in the UK? The windscreen here. That looks like side windows. At least that's what it looks like, right? I hate using the word pareidolia. It's silly. But if it's a thing, sure it could be, because we don't know what these are. The one on the left.
It's a Datsun. Looks like a
That's
Porsche.
what it is. That's where my car went. Bastard stole it on me. I love it. That's where my damn car went. Shit. Remember they talking about the Bermuda Triangle? It was on a ship one day and they stole it. It's gone.
First car I had was a Ford Festiva. I think it might be up there somewhere.
Yeah, you never can tell, right? But I'm just saying, it's just, it doesn't make sense. Why are we seeing this in a Martian photo? Is it possible they had something similar to us before we came about and technologically advanced, you know what I mean, that we've gotten here? I don't know. But to me, that's just, you can look it up yourselves, folks. It's there.
It's there.
It's there. This one here is pretty cool. We got, a lot of people love the moon. This one here.
Hey, Chris, can you flip off your screen and flip back on so Mikey and I can see it? The screen share off and screen share on. We're still in the map.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Now I got to try to find it again. Here we go. This one here. Okay, you guys are back now. Okay, good. This is the untouched raw photo right here on the right. Okay. You can see that. This is the radar image that was done from, it was received by Arecibo, but it was transmitted here from West Virginia. Okay. So they hit it with a radar, and this is what came back on the left. Look at some of these objects in a row. Some things are in a row. What looked like, somebody said to me that it looks like these weird lights or domes or something like that. But look at the design. It looks like it's designed in many places. And that is and this penetrated about 50 feet into the lunar surface. Okay? So if you look at it through your telescope, this is what you see on the right. That's what you see. Use a radar, this is what you see. I don't know about you folks, but that doesn't look natural to me. Now, don't get me wrong. There was lava flow, lava tubes underneath the surface of the moon. We know that. So is it possible that's what we're seeing on some of these things? Very good possibility. Let me see. Yeah, there's a moon one here. We've done this one before. And this one here totally evaded me because I didn't even see this at first. But here, I'll put it right in the middle of the screen. There's structures standing there and you don't even see them. Because your eyes are so screwed up that you don't see it. You're just going, I see a lot of white. What the hell are you talking about? I see darker areas. That's what I saw at first.
Your picture is frozen again here on the screen share.
Really? It's live here. I still see it live on the TV.
Yeah. But I don't see it here. I'll see it live on the YouTube, but not on the Zoom here.
That's weird.
Just turn it on and off again. Off and on.
Hey, he disappeared. He changed into a chair. Oh.
So his wheel disappeared.
He changed into a chair on us.
What did I say? Was it something I said?
Could be.
Probably.
Probably. It's like, man, I hate when that happens. Okay, so this is the one I was showing you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let me show you the one once it's enhanced. It's a trick of light, folks. This is what they like to do to people. It's a trick of light. But once you start to, all I do is lighten this area up. That's all I did. Lighten it up, and that's what come out. Okay? The back here. What looks like a different level, like there's 2 levels of structure or something sitting right there. And you can see other pieces and parts and stuff like this in the back. What is it? Structures. It's all it can be.
It is very interesting. Very, very interesting.
And down here, you can see it's almost like this thing goes all the way down here past this white area. I'm going to call it a mountain or some kind of ridge side.
To ask you one question, Chris, to understand the picture. Where was it from, this picture? That was a satellite image.
Yeah. Trying to think here. I don't have it off the top of my head.
No.
Like I said, I've done a video on it myself, and I've actually showed the whole ID number and everything else.
I would like to look up the angle and it's taken from, if it's taken straight down or with a slant on.
Oh, no, it's definitely a slant. You can see the way it's coming down into it.
You can see the sides.
Yep.
Which is quite normally on most of the lunar picture. But
exactly. It's not straight down. At least 90% of them are not.
Yeah.
But I didn't even see this because there's a lot of dark areas, a lot of light areas. There is no in between. You don't see gray. You just see black or white. And that's not true at all. How is this a crater here when it looks like it's got an edge to it? Doesn't make any sense. And like I said, there's what looks like a structure in the background. Looks like it has like multi-floored structures, some kind of weird thing going on back there. But there you are. I mean, these to me just kind of blew my mind. I was like, what the hell is that?
Some of these older pictures are great.
Oh, I love these.
They're so raw, just like there. You just got to take a look at them. And they capture so much, but there was a lot less filtering and, digital age back then.
These guys. Renee V says, this is really one of the most beautiful finds of you. How bizarre. And then Ricardo puts Moonbase Alpha. So it is real. Yeah, there's some crazy things in these photos, guys. This one here I enhanced, and I've done a video on this. Has the Sojourner rover in it. But once you enhance this thing and pull out what is underneath the manipulation, and I outline these actual objects. Now, I've asked some people, I said, what is this crap in the background? They said, what the hell did the guy say? He said, it looks like something like an old bus from the UK. I'm like, what? But seriously, what are those? And that is, believe it or not, it looks identical to that in the original.
I think that we need to cover that picture. We could cover that picture for a whole 2 hours next time.
But see, somebody said this, and I didn't even realize this until you look at this. Look at the front of the Sojourner rover. They said it looks like a little alien, like trying to stop it from running over him. There's a rock here. We see that. And then right here, there's something in front of that rover. I went, I'm not sure I'm seeing an alien, but what the hell is it? Is it part of the rover? It's like a bumper type thing, and it just stops it from, if it hits something, it automatically just stops it in its tracks so it doesn't roll over? That's a possibility.
Yeah, but there is something, yeah.
Yep. There's something there. You can see it.
There's a black thing that we gotta figure out where the sun is coming from first. It's coming from the other side.
Yep.
So
it's on this side coming this way.
to rule the shadow out unless it's from the Sojourner's wheel, but the wheel is not tall enough to cast a shadow up there.
Yep.
So there is something fishy to that dark area in front of the Sojourner.
Well, here's another thing. How about this right here? Right in the middle of the screen. What is that? Nice straight edge, another straight edge down. I'll back up just a little bit because it does get grainy when you go way in, but check that out. What the hell is that? It's not a simple rock. You can tell it's not a rock.
It doesn't look like a rock. It looks like something from the back of a fancy plane or something with a jet engine on.
Well, somebody said, where's the cam? Simply Steve 68. Well, that actually was the lander that took the photos of this. Trying to remember the exact, what was the name of the rover? I mean, the lander. You guys remember?
The Sojourner, and then there was the Mars lander, the inside lander, the Mars.
Well, this goes back now. This is 90, 91,
Yeah.
94, 95, somewhere in there.
What's the name of it? Oh, and I should remember them all. I went through them yesterday.
Well, this is a Sojourner, but as far as the lander, I don't remember what the lander was. Now, Kyle, you asked, and thanks again for your support. You said, "How did the rover make it through all of those rocks?" Well, it didn't. That's why the actual mission was failed. Basically, it got wedged up against a rock. They said, and that was the end of it. And I can kind of understand that. Look at the size of the wheels on this thing. How is that possible? Going to go anywhere in there? Look at the. I mean,
very, 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 very first little pioneer rover we sent it up.
Yeah.
But listen to the theory. The theory is that it still works.
Okay, Ricardo said the Pathfinder. Yep. Thank you.
Pathfinder, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I had it. I'm going, I know what it is. Well, God damn it. But so thank you. That's why these guys are awesome. So this is what I'm saying. So you've got what looks like this weird little thing in the beginning between the rover itself and the rock. People are, oh, a little alien. And again, I don't know if that's some kind of weird bumper thing that just stops it from, if it kept going, it would just literally tip over if it went over that rock. I mean, there's just no way around it. It would just get wedged in there. So I think what it did is it tried to go back and forth, and it just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I lost your screen again. I'm still looking at the. How about you, Thomas? Are you still looking at the?
I'm looking at YouTube live here with a little bit of delay on.
Yeah, I was trying to check it out on YouTube too.
Yeah. Because it takes every time Chris goes on Shadow and Zoom, it takes 10 seconds and it freezes.
It's like, no, you can't get the. There you go.
Okay, so this one I thought was very interesting too. Right, really cool.
I've seen these in a while.
Let me see here. And a lot of the, like I said, my subs have seen this anyway. This one here I just done recently. This one here is cool because some of the things that are in here just really kind of, baffle the mind, because this is completely hidden in the original. You almost can't see this right here, this archway. But what's more important is the things that are right off the edge of it. Look at this, nice 90-degree angle. Something else that looks like a box-type feature sticking out of it. All of the parts laying on the side of it. It's like I tell people, listen, it's one thing to see a 90-degree angle, maybe 2 or 3. Of course, nature makes that. We know that. But when you have things like this in the middle of the screen, this piece right here in the sand, come on. You know what I mean? There's things in here that just don't make any sense. This right here, you can see some of it's white, the rest of it is actually blocked out, meaning it's either, it appears to be in the shadows, because you can see the whiter part, and then you can see the shadow kind of runs pretty close to it, right?
I'm just going to talk over you for a second because we got another one of our good old anomaly hunters in the chat also, Martina Graney, that says Pathfinder and Sojourner. Hello, Martina.
Oh, she in there? Martina Graney, what's going on? Yep, Pathfinder. Yep.
Martian, this
one's loaded with a lot of cool stuff in it. Really, really cool stuff. Not sure what that is, and all of these other little things on the side of this. And again, we can see a shadow right here. So this sunlight's coming like this here. It's just coming down almost, not completely, I'm going to call it noontime. It's not coming straight down like this because you can see the shadows off to the right. Then you got these right here, shadow. And then it looks like something sticking out here, and there's more of a shadow. So it's almost consistent. It's almost like they're compartments than there are anything.
Mm.
The others, like, I'll just jump over to the other side. Everybody will get seasick and throw up over here. This one's pretty neat because, like I said, you see these what look like panels and what looks like twisted metal or something right here. I'm not sure what they even make of that. And then what we have is this weird-looking disc thing. Almost like a beat-out rock right here. See this? Kind of weird design or cut out on that rock. This is almost not even visible. This disc-like thing, whatever that is. But look at the way this right here on the very right, look at the way that comes down, nice and smooth. Goes across, slants upward, has a nice smooth corner, comes back. I've never seen layered rock do that. It's almost like this whole area has been decimated and it was actually a structure. And now, don't get me wrong, this could easily be a mountain, which means they might have built into this thing. And what we're seeing is a blown apart mountain, and all of the rooms we're now seeing the cutout from it. And look
That's
at it,
a very good theory. Because one of the theories that also goes about Mars is about that explosion that was. It was a explosion of nuclear power, seismic power that basically shaked even rocks to pieces. Everything that was standing less than a meter above the ground would be shaken to pieces and shattered by the seismic frequencies that came after an explosion. And that's why we see things like statues that are spread all over. And you just said it yourself, building compartments, and you actually are looking at the inside of a construction. You're just not aware of it because it's been standing outside for 2,000 years and got covered in
exactly.
So we're looking at open structures that basically just have the same color as its surroundings. So our eyes don't see it right away before we start thinking about it.
Not sure what this white thing is up here either. But you can see, like, look at it. Straight edge right here. Put it right in the middle of the screen. Straight edge going up. So even if, that's why I believe if these are mountains, buttes, or whatever, they built into it. You know what I mean? Instead of having independent, standing structures, they just built into the, because again, if you got 300-mile-an-hour winds there, which they do. Now, according to NASA, it would be around a 60-mile-an-hour wind here, a 300-mile wind gust up there. Because of the atmosphere, right? Okay, so even radiation, if you're not living in an area that's protected by a radiation or the magnetic field of the planet, because it's sporadic, it's not all the way around Mars, and it's not completely gone. So, but if you happen to be in that area, if you lived inside a mountain, what's a good insulator for radiation? Sand.
Rock, sand.
It just makes sense. It just,
Soil.
Yep, exactly. Don't get me wrong, you have to be X amount of feet underground in order to avoid that. But still, look at if this is, and I tell everybody, I don't think this is really the sky. This is crap. I think this is much higher than that. And because there's so many times I've seen a bunch of what looks like a bunch of rocks come down and going, where did it come from? Or it looks like stuff that's like block as opposed to just rocks. And you go, okay, so where did it come from? There's so much of it. It looks like it barely fell down, what, 10, 15, 20 feet off the ground, off the top of this, I should say.
Things that also make me wonder sometimes now that you're saying that is I've noticed some of I look a lot of the satellite images, and lately I found some sand dunes, big sand dunes, and on top of those sand dunes were rocks, or what looks like rocks, and I am like, okay, can anybody explain to me how come there's rocks on top of a sand dune? Because we know that sand dunes are moving with the weather conditions, and everything on top would be absorbed with time. So if anybody could tell me how does rocks get on top of a sand dune without getting absorbed by the dune?
Yeah, I mean, over a course of how many years?
Yeah, I guess about how far down.
Thousands of years.
Got this white piece in here. Got that nice bend to it like this here. Has what looks like some kind of black area right there in the middle of it. Not that clear because you actually have the sunlight showing in, then it's dark in the shadow. So it's kind of hard to see that one.
But it is a really interesting one, and I see a lot of what I call brick building in it also. I would love to go deeper into that one as well.
Yeah.
And like I said, this rock alone on the very left-hand side of the screen, it has what looks like an arch shape. It has a line, and another line.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's pretty spot on too, art shaped.
Yeah. Just, I mean, because this is what people do. They go like this. They look at oh my God, that is so awesome. Just, it's from Mars. Get into the photo and really study these rocks, these so-called rocks. A lot of them, what you'll find in the bottom here is absolutely exactly that, rocks. Until you get up into with these supposed to be mountains and buttes and everything else, there's so much more in here. Look at this thing. Look at this white piece standing up. Yeah, it looks a little out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
You see it right there.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, you can just look carefully. You can see this stuff.
I was looking back to your to the chat. Your B. Baker's asked, "What do you guys think of the electric universe theory, aka thunderbolts of the gods, explaining weird canyons, craters, and rills on the moon and Mars?" I've actually watched that documentary. Probably was it 10 years ago, or something like that. It was interesting. The Marks do look very similar. Like they would take it and electrify it, how it was. Very well could have been. So there's so many theories out there for different things. Have you guys heard of the electric theory at all?
I have. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of it because there was a channel that showed that where it showed soil, and it showed like electric, like I'm going to call them mini electric lightning bolts, right? And it literally showed this almost like a valley in the sand because of the electricity, and that's where they're saying that the big trench came from on Mars. And then some people say no, it was a planet at one point come down and it literally scraped across Mars. I don't know.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's like they definitely said, who knows? So, but when everything was coming together, and what we're looking at now too, there's so much out there. They're definitely the buttes when it comes to this places, especially the new Piercy images. Like they're like it's like structures just under them, and they're all popping up at the top too with perfect angles. It's
I guess we can take questions, right?
We've been on here for almost 2.5 hours now.
Right.
What is it? 4:14 on my end.
Yeah.
Hey, I go to Moon one more time. This doesn't look like much. This was one of the ones that I done way back. This is when we first saw from this, or one of the ones. And this was it came in. This is just kind of in the middle of nowhere. And so I started searching. And you start getting another one, a little bit more structure. This is one of the ones that came out last. This thing's just sitting out in the middle of nowhere on the moon.
Yeah, I like that rectangular part. Just hit the mic.
I can go on for 2 more hours, but I need to get some coffee, guys. So I'm gonna leave you for about 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, go ahead and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You got a hall pass. You're okay. See this right here? You got like this weird rectangular piece right here in front of that one. Look on your very left-hand side of it. Right there, there's a rectangular piece sticking down. No, right against it. You got that piece there. It's got that angle, and then you got right to the right of it. There's that rectangular piece. See it? Just barely sticking out of it, at the face of it. So there's shapes in there that should not be there on a random rock, meaning the moon. You wouldn't expect anything to have any organization whatsoever at all, and yet there's some things that do.
It's got a lot of it. It's just kind of sitting there.
Yeah.
It's casting a shadow. You can see the shadows in the other pictures where they're taking different angles that you barely see it. How like easily obscured it is. You see the L shape right there and the outline of it. That's what it first came out as. That's kind of, I guess, it's turned upside down in that picture. Yeah, I was just looking through the website, looking at the ones that I had remembered. Send it back to you.
Somebody asked, was that MG Toe? What's going on, MG Toe? You said, have you explored Antarctica? I have. I've actually done a lot of videos on that. In fact, I got one, Antarctica, and I think it's Hidden Secrets or something along them lines. That is my other channel. And I've done that because other people who have, we've worked with and stuff like that, and and got it and put it over there. There's a lot of crazy things. In fact, I got another photo that has what looks like these weird. I'm gonna put the best way I can put it is it looks like the Noah's Ark. That's only been found 8,000 times, but anyway, it's literally on top of this mountain. It's just crazy.
My first video I ever did, basically I put up was civilization found on Antarctica, and that basically one day I came back to YouTube. I forgot I made this account, and I just put that video up, and I came back to it, and I learned the truth about YouTube really quick. That people can call you everything in the book and rag you and drag you and make you feel like hell. It's like, you're an idiot, you're stupid. I came back and had like 1 million hits. So literally that was the first thing. I guess it somehow got into the Google algorithm back then. So I was like, you know what? Now I got a channel. I might as well start making videos. That's where I just started listening to the stuff about the Mars stuff. I was like, no, let me show this. But yeah, Antarctica is an amazing place. It's probably like as under that ice is going to be interesting.
Well, it's not even on under the ice. I'm not even sure I follow that part of it, but there's parts of that Antarctica where they got military bases, and if you just look not far away from there, there's actually what look like structures all over the damn place. And they go, some people go, maybe it's military. I went, no, this is not military.
Same thing as the civilization, like literally, like they're all are scattered around the world. They use the same technology. They have the same look, same feel, just a little bit different in each spot. But they all kind of use the same knowledge from the past. And like the pyramids down there's plenty of pictures. You guys could look at pyramids down there that are the same. You see other places, and it's like, oh, that's just a mountain in the snow. But some of the stuff it's got,
I got a little list with coordinates of bases on Antarctica. There's about 100 bases. And I've been sitting with them coordinates, typing them in, looking at each and every single one of them bases that are listed, military bases and private research bases. And it is insanely interesting, some of it. But you see, there's one Russian base, Paranskaya. But I think it was that was really, really interesting. That was it's abandoned now, but the structures that are in the surrounding areas are like the wow effect when you see it, because is it human made or is it alien made? What are we looking at? I'll see if I can find the picture somewhere or the link somewhere, and you can have a look at it, because that gives you directly access to all the military bases also.
Basically, there's a bunch of Australian pictures from like the weather down there. Like they did a survey, and you can go to the website and get them. Like I was finding stuff in those types of things. Like literally, they're like pictures out of planes. Like I tried to find the high jump photos online. You can't find the actual. There was a ton of photographs taken. There's not a repository. There's nothing online that shows the whole thing. You can pick out about 15 or 20 of them, but where's the 25,000 or whatever? I'd love to see those. Wonder if anybody's ever tried to FOIA, those.
I don't know. It'd be awesome if they did. But here's the thing. I mean, I've dissected a lot of those icy hills and mountains and stuff like that, and you can see like literally where they're centering stuff out. There's so much shit there. Oh my God. And you can see it in the background. It looks like all kinds of structures, and it doesn't look like something we would have built. And I'm not saying it looks like the Jetsons or some weird thing like that. I'm just saying when you see it, you go, is it a military base or is it not? Because it doesn't look that way, and it looks like it's been there for quite a while. So that kind of makes sense to me. I know back in the 50s they were building bases, army bases there. And what they do is they build them underground purposely because of the weather there. They had their own, I don't know if it was nuclear at the time. I think it was nuclear. They had a nuclear power plant. There was power that base. And they lived there. I'm going, wait a minute. If you're there taking core samples, I get it. But why stay there? What's there to see? If you're taking core samples, then you know what you need, you got what you need, and then you leave. You don't stay there. You just go on an expedition, and then you leave. So if you're staying there, there's got to be a reason.
You make some more core samples and core samples, and then you tell the people that those core samples is in sufficient. You got to do some new, and you can do the next 10 years of that while you do the research.
We'll just keep getting funds for that. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, and it's funded by core sampling. So they'll probably do some core samples now and then, real core samples, and send it into all the technological institutes that needs it, and that's it. But what they do next to that, we don't know about. And there was a question in the chat here that's saying, why did, let me see, it disappeared, but it said, why did all those famous people go to Antarctica a few years ago? And that is, there's a lot of theories about it, because it's not only what's famous, it's also politicians, high-ranking people, it's presidents and kings and queens and so on and so on and so on. And nobody seems to want to tell what it is there, or open up about what it is that is around Antarctica. Then we had the Buzz Aldrin that just suddenly was
going to mention
out of Antarctica, saying it's pure evil down there. If
what was that? I missed that.
Huh?
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin, when he went up there, he said it's pure evil that's up in Antarctica. So it's kind of like, okay, why would you take Buzz Aldrin unless he was curious? Now, he can keep a secret because clearly he did about the moon missions. Why not? You know what I mean?
The rumors about Antarctica also tells us that one of our ancient forefathers possibly should still be alive and be living down there. And we are talking about a person that, according to some of the tablets, was dismissed or sent to exile in the land of the horned beast, which was Marduk.
Yep.
And Buzz Aldrin basically described Marduk, an old being, older than nothing, pure evil, because that would be how somebody would perceive Marduk if they don't know Marduk or what he stands for. There was a pure evil. So could there be something to it that we have remnants of our ancient Anunnaki still present down there, and that's why we have all the world leaders going in there, because they know that the technology that the ancient people civilization possess can wipe us out in a second. If anybody is left of that ancient civilization, it's about making diplomatic bonds with this sort of being, and this could explain why you have, like, for example, Buzz Aldrin, the first man on the moon to go there, all the presidents and all the high-ranking people down there, and all done in secrecy. Is it Marduk that they are being showed? Is it an ancient being from Anunnaki that's still alive down there in their so-called Anunnaki high fortress that should be under the ice on Antarctica? The question is probably a question that we won't get an answer for at any given time, but the rumors will always exist. So what is there on
the Nazis made it there too. They say that the Nazis were fascinated with it.
Yeah.
And Hitler, they said U-boats had made it, and there was a.
Why do you think the Nazis was fascinated by it?
I mean, I know that Hitler was fascinated by the occult in general and those types of things, but they spent a lot of money.
The Nazis were fascinated by it because Hitler did his research, and that was one of the reasons for why he also went to Antarctica. Hitler was very, very interested in ancient history. And
yes.
Marduk, he had a whole team of people working 24 hours to dig into ancient history. Hitler was completely excited, like a little child, to go to Antarctica.
Oh, he was obsessed.
He was obsessed,
yeah.
And he believed that he would find something there, which I think they did. They didn't find Marduk. They didn't find the beings there, but they found some of them bases. It's a little bit like, let's say we build America, then we leave it and leave 1 million people back in America. There will be a few hundred in Washington. There will be maybe 1,000 in Los Angeles, and you probably wouldn't even meet one of them 1,000 people in Los Angeles if you drove by in a car, because it's so big. It's kind of the same on Antarctica. They lived there, and some was left back, and you don't see them unless you're invited to see them. But I think that Hitler and the Nazi Germany, when they occupied the bases that they overtook from the Norwegian expedition in Queen Maud Land, because the Norwegians were the first one that was actually up there. German came after them. They took over their bases. I don't know on what terms they overtook their bases. If they took them or they agreed to it, I don't know about that. But they come in there, and it was in that area that these German so-called U-boat access ways and facilities, what you call it, U-boats, storage, harbors, underground.
Yep, they are underground, yeah.
Yeah, underground.
Had like underground lakes, and they were just
located.
Yep.
Queen Maryland, Queen Maud Land. That was up there in the area where the Norwegians was first. So the big question is, what was it the Norwegian found that made the Germans storm to Queen Maud Land in big amounts of men, numbers of men and material, and then overtake the whole area, and basically ending up sending the Norwegians back home again and staying there till the day they are here now? What is going on there, and what did the Norwegian people found up there? I think they found a bunker I think they found facilities.
Oh, of course. I mean, listen, there's a reason why it's off limits to everybody. You can't fly over it. Now, people go, well, you're not allowed to go to Antarctica. Yes, you are. You can go to Antarctica. They have, like, tours you can go on. Like, if you're a tourist or you want to go on a ship and you want to see whale watching and all, they got all that up there. However, there's areas up there that you are off limits to, period. And what's funny about it, I seen several photos of the ports that are up there. These large ships, they have bulkheads that open up like this. So I'm going, okay, so what would you need? Why would you need a ship like that with bulkheads that you can lower things into? So what are you taking out of Antarctica that you need a ship that big? Many ships that big. Unless they're saying, hey, you know what? The ice is melting. Before this becomes visible, we need to get rid of everything we possibly can. What's going to be left over if they take let's say there's technology up there and they take the technology. What's going to be left of structure? Who cares at that point? We got the biggest toys, so we don't care.
They can't do it. It would be the same as saying, okay, overnight we're just going to remove all mailboxes in the whole America. You can't do that. There will always be somebody somewhere.
Well, that's my point, though. But you're going to try to get as much as you can out of it.
And
you know what I mean?
For repair and coming on later. You can't boxes in America. It's kind of the same, yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of it, like I said, is probably buried. Kind of like when we're looking at the Mayan, civilization, where a lot of that is still buried in these forests, these rainforests and stuff like that. And the only way they can find them is through radar. So LiDAR, yeah, that as well. So to me, if you go up there, there's a reason why you're staying up there and you're going up there with a lot of ships. It's one thing, again, now, as far as we've talked about this before, somebody said something about, I think it was warmer up there. It was absolutely warmer up there. There was 2 geologists that went up there, and of course, there was all kinds of other scientists up there. They did core samples. They had core samples that were probably 3-4 feet long. And what they did was they found it had in a glass tube, and they said, look, you can see all of the mud and sand and dirt and everything else. Then it went to organics. Then it was like slush, and then it was ice. So it was absolutely like the Amazon jungle back X amount of years. So why is it hard to believe there could be a civilization living up there at one time? We don't know. When did it stop? When did it get frozen? They're saying, what, 16, 20,000 years? At some point, it was the last ice age. So, there's a lot to consider. It's really, if you wish you could sit down with people who've been up there and literally say, just come on, man, give me the skinny, man. What's going on here? Get them drunk and they'll just tell you anything. You know what I mean? Tell you the full truth. Yeah, this is what happened. I've been up there. They got structures up there, spacecraft, whatever, whatever the hell is up there. You know what I mean? Who knows? Maybe Hitler's still up there. He's buried up there somehow because he just wanted to be up there. But Ricardo, thanks again for your support. You said the live chat is awesome. Dark Journalist channel calls it the Ideas Room for good reason. Yes, indeed. It has been 2.5 hours. If you guys are ready to jump, then we can do that. Because I know, Thomas, it's probably, what time are you over there?
It's 10:30 in the evening here.
It's not too bad, but still the week's coming up.
Yet.
Yeah.
If we start talking about the Baltic Sea anomaly, I can go 6 more hours.
I swear to God, I was going to say the same thing. Get them going, and that's it. But
it's not an undersea anomaly.
Yeah. So what about you, Will? You got anything else to contribute to, like other things, like you might have like ideas that you want to throw around and see what the people over here in the chat say about it?
Bedrooms.
I got one more picture I would like to throw out.
That's when I pun it to to Thomas Goodward.
Oh, I gotta share the screen, then it works better. Actually, it's two pictures. But again, we are talking about ancient
I remember these.
ancient civilization,
Mm-hmm.
ancient cities, ancient walls. I remember first time I saw this satellite image, I saw, whoa, that's a foundation for a house.
Yep. Or a large block or something like that.
Or a farm or something like big house or something, from an airport or something big hangar size. I was like, whoa, that's pretty amazing. And I didn't really think more about it. And I looked at it again. It's just like, whoa, that's an evidence of something down there that's square. And again, size of it. Size is everything. So we went in to get some size on it. And you can see that the bottom end of that square is almost 1.8 kilometers long, which is like a little more than a mile. So this is not a foundation for a little house. This is not a factory building.
Might be a walled city or something.
Not a hangar in an airport. That's a city-sized wall.
Like a walled city, yeah. That's what it looks like to me.
City-sized wall, yeah.
Yep. And it's cool because when you first see the bottom part, you go, oh, yeah, I can see the walls. No. But then you look at the top right corner and you go, holy shit. It's squared off up there, too. And you go, wow. I love these satellite photos.
I've been measuring the walls at the bottom on the side also. It's like, I think it's over 150 meters wide. So my thought was, what if we're talking about this cataclysmic event, a nuclear blast or seismic blast explosion? What if what we're looking at here in reality was a pyramid? And that's the last line of rocks that actually was underneath the sand back then that you can still see part of. And everything else was just blasted to people and blown away kilometers or miles away. Could it be possible that we're looking at a foundation from an old pyramid, a huge sized pyramid that once was there? Or is it just a city wall or something like that?
Well, to me, it's anybody's guess, but we know just by looking at that, that's definitely intelligently made in one form or another.
And the size of it is mesmerizing, and that's why I love the satellite images, because you can find something that big. Nature don't make square blocks that big. Never have done. So absolutely artificial created area. It's, by the way, taken by the Mars Global Surveyor with the Mars Orbiter camera. And I do believe it's from about, I think it was 2000 also. I do believe it was, yeah. So this is an old picture, but this picture and the two other people I showed in the beginning are some of them pictures that I think everybody should know about. Just like, you know, who Jesus is in the Bible, you should know what the city wall is on Mars and what the Jupiter 2 UFO is and what the ancient world is. That is what I believe would be the right direction for our future kids and their kids, learning them about what we're finding on Mars, learning what we're seeing when they are kids. I believe that this should be taught in school. Just like we have religion, we should have archaeology or astroarchaeology for those that are interested in it. But I doubt it's going to be in my lifetime.
Well, yeah, I mean, what I love about these too is when you get into these photos, these satellite photos, there's incredible things in here. And again, when you said about the rocks, when you just had that last one look like pathways or whatever, when you look at that, people go, oh, that's just so nice. Get into the photo. Just zoom in, you can see square blocks lined up along with each other. How does that happen in nature?
The one I had here with the Fields of Jatan, as it's called, is probably one of the most, let me just get it up again here.
Probably one of the most amazing satellite images I've ever been looking at. And looking at it from a distance.
Definitely Keith put together. Yeah, Keith put together. That's really good. That's very, very high res too. I think I think it's one of the ones he ordered. He orders like he'll go in there all the time, and what's kind of neat about that satellite. You can order a picture, and they'll take it for you if they pick you. I think he's had about 5 of them fulfilled or something like that, maybe more than that.
You know, let me say this. If you back out for a second, Thomas, when you back out, most of this could have been underwater. And the reason why I say that is because when you look at these buttes and things sticking out, we're looking over one right now, the big one.
The middle, yeah.
And you can see all the little ones around. They look like they appear to be, worn by water. Now, of course, then once the ocean dries up or whatever, the lake or whatever it was, then, of course, you have wind erosion. But this could very well be dried up ground. However, you would think over a course of years, because they're saying, how many millions of years? Then there's no water been on Mars except for this residual as opposed to the giant ocean they had. That those would have been already covered up by now by dust storms and everything else. So that tells me this is well after that, and that these could be very well newer, and like you said, mined, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And this could have been a real mining. It could have been roadways. It could have been anything, And when you zoom right into those things, you can see, you kind of look into those little darker lines, take a closer look at them.
They definitely do some intersecting.
Yeah. And some of them are perfect. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, streams and little brooks and stuff can do the same, right?
Yeah.
But
they don't go on the elevated areas.
That's a perfect cross between them. Look at it. Cross perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
a triangle right there. There's a triangle right there. Right there. Looks almost like a full triangle with a round circle right there in the middle of it.
And you got these straight cuts, as I talked about before, where you can see the cut in line.
Mm-hmm.
And if this was broken natural, it would have been zigzag pattern all the way. But these are the same line all the way. You can take a ruler and it will follow the line all the way, straight lines all the way. And this is what I meant with earlier when I said that I think it's a parasite where they basically chopped up everything that was.
Well, here's the other thing too. How about go back to that for a second? I'm curious. If I was to look at that photo and it was in color, I would swear that that's a countryside with farmland. Look at the way the actual people's property is broken down. If you zoom into that, you can see it looks like properties all broken down, like you could see if there was farming area and stuff like that.
See, we almost got the same area down here in color, but you can just see the top of the white one here. Don't go that far down.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the RGB color. Red, green, and blue mixed together. What I would like to have is the infrared IRB up also, because it does show some of the features you don't see. When you go into the colored satellite image, you don't get the same resolution. It's still good. It's still amazing, but you don't get the same resolution when you go close. So if you want a good result and want to take some good pictures or prove live on Mars, hang on, I just gotta look at that one. What's that? Then you have to go up to the black and white area of it where the resolution are highest and the contrast are clearest.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, these are amazing images from Mars.
Keith worked on those. You can see the size of the where the one chunk was out of it. Like literally worked so many photos to make that. It's amazing. Like the hard drives must have to store these things. Because you can see where the one chunk is out of it. Like when you pull back out, there's like one little piece missing from the gigapan. That's like one little baby strip. So that's why you can zoom in so close. These things are super high res.
It is so crisp. It's so awesome.
That's like this is what's cool about just the whole citizen thing. Like it's our data too. Like Keith did this, NASA didn't do this and put it out. They these painstakingly stitched this together.
It's amazing. Mars is amazing.
Guys.
Well,
the size of this area, you're never gonna get finished if you think you're gonna sit on.
oh yeah, it's going to take a long time.
I've covered this area up here, and I got about 100 anomalies in this tiny little area.
Oh yeah.
So one day sooner or later, and I've been looking at this one for over 2 years now. I've got to move on and get to the rest of the area because
It's like just take too darn long.
there's just as much proof on life on Mars in the rest of the area as there is here, where you could see all the rocks are gone and somebody just took a grab full of rocks with them or whatever they did. It's so clear that this is an area that's been messed with, that's been moved rocks around and taken rocks, and the infrastructure in it says it all to me. It looks so artificial at all.
Oh, absolutely. You can just see the way this thing looks. And you want to like get into every area of this, especially a lot of the the areas where it got a lot of dense rocks, and look at it really carefully. If there are more, square, rectangular rocks, so on and so forth, you want to see that. You want to really see what's going on, because you don't know if that was structural at some point and then blown to pieces. And like Will said earlier, what happens if you got a 200 to 500? You understand, Mars had more ocean than we had.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it was basically a giant frickin', ocean. So what happens if it's 1,000-foot, wave? It would just annihilate everything in its path.
Yeah, it would. That's true.
It's, I wouldn't, and if it's going 600 miles an hour, there's not a structure out there that's going to stand up to that, unless you're underground.
No, maybe a pyramid or something like that, but not even that, I think, would survive.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, it's got a whole lot better chance, sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of water can move a lot.
Oh yeah. Well, just look at it. I mean, if the water's just a barely, above the door in your car, just getting up there can push your car off the road. If you're trying to go across a stream or something. So, yeah. Now, picture a 500-foot wave running at 600 miles an hour. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to dodge that.
The picture of the year.
Yeah.
See where that rock's broken away right there? You can see that big rock? It's broken away in that section, yeah. What caused that? Something had to have moved that.
That's wild.
Earthquake, maybe? Or Marsquake, rather?
Like you can see they even cut a thin slice out first.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so touch this area, so artificial. The whole area. Notice how the rocks here, they're like sun shaped. It's all ending the same.
Yeah, it's got a middle section with all the other ones going around it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that stuff, both square and triangular and round, with cuts that ends symmetrically in the middle. There are so many. There are 2 triangles here. They're not perfect, but
oh yeah,
they are there, and there are so much stuff in here. But I gotta zoom out and I gotta stop sharing, because otherwise I'll. My eyes are gonna fall out soon.
Just want to say a shout out to James Cragen. He says, hi, Chris, Will, and Thomas, and hello to everyone here tonight. I am late again, but I didn't get the heads up on this one tonight. But it's great to be here, and it's looking fantastic already. Thanks, James, for your continuing support as always.
Talking about it to do it together, Thomas, and everybody last minute actually got on.
Say that again. Say that again.
We do this a couple times a month,
Yeah.
Yeah, we should.
And also,
shall we give our viewers a little promise and say that we actually will going to do it once?
Yeah, what we're going to do is, I think we even mentioned this, where we were talking amongst ourselves saying, well, we probably should do this at a set day, like all
first
the time.
Sunday in every month, and it's Sunday today, and it's the first Sunday. So what do you guys say in about 4 weeks? Will we be back?
Well, I'm not sure about Sundays, because I usually take my son back to college on Sunday evenings. The only difference is he's got a friend of his taking him back to college this weekend.
Okay.
So unless we make it earlier, which I don't have a problem with, we make it earlier on Sunday.
We can, or we can make it Saturday. It's up to you guys.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's after I get out of work, which is after about noon.
But for you guys out there that are sitting and watching and thinking, well, when am I going to find out? If you're not subscribed to Chris's channel, do it now and you get a notification, or you can follow us on Facebook. We will for sure post it on Spacelink TV pages, any upcoming live with Chris and Will, and also on my own profile, Thomas Mikey Jensen.
Well,
Jensen,
I'm gonna drop every link. So what you guys, I'll have these guys give me any links to their channels, Facebook pages, so on and so forth. And what I'll do is I'll drop them under this video once it's been, done by YouTube and everything else, and finalized and everything else. So I'll make sure all the links are there. And you definitely want to jump on these guys' channel because they've got some really interesting and cool stuff to see. Just want to give another shout out to Richard. Thank you again. You said Will and Thomas. It's been a delight to have you both on a live chat with Chris. Hangout, rather. And you are all brilliant in this topic and command respect for your work. Well, thank you very much. We do appreciate that.
A lot of time staring at the screens.
Oh, God. It's funny because I had a guy say to me one day, he goes, man, he said it, he wasn't really directly at me. He says, man, this guy sees something in every photo. That's not true. How many photos have you guys looked at and seen squad in it?
Millions, like literally.
Oh, my God. I can't even count that high.
The whole secret is to pretend
it's
that should just look normal and don't say you don't see anything in it, because I get a lot of them pictures and people are sending me pictures with absolutely nothing in it.
Yeah.
That's okay, because the people that are sending them are curious and they don't know what they're looking at.
Right.
So
and there's nothing wrong with that.
When I get pictures of blurry curiosity images,
it's tougher,
small Martians with his right hand raised and he's got a little pink
hat. that I never see. Now, again,
I haven't seen that at any given time, and
praying mantis.
Believe in it, to be honest. I respect what other people are seeing, absolute.
Oh, yeah.
A bad word about it, but I don't see small green men in either spirit, opportunity, curiosity, or perseverance images.
Well, I guess it depends on how much you zoomed in. So in other words, when you zoom in quite a bit, you start to see squiggly lines. You see what looks like circles, and maybe you do see like what looks like a person. Now, some people go, no, I don't even zoom in that far, and I can see what looks like people in it. And I tell people honestly, I do not see that. Maybe because my mindset is machinery, structural, because that's what I used to do it for a living. I used to set up machines for a living. So structurally, I'm thinking structures, mechanical. So that's what maybe I'm more wired to see. Some people deal with people all the time. Maybe they're more wired to see that. I don't know. I don't see it. I'd be totally honest with people,
When we are talking about rover images, the thing that I see and stumble across right away all the time is the size. And not shouting at anybody, but when people, as I said before, coming and tell me that they see this and that, and they have 2 legs and they can walk and have this clothes on, I'm like, do you know that this is a 2.5 centimeter rock you're looking at?
Yeah. No, it's 4 miles off, and it's like, that person must be about 18 feet tall.
Come back to me and say, no, it's a fully grown Martian.
No,
there's no way to have that resolution.
3 centimeters tall. And I had it before. There was a great example. There actually was a good picture, a really good picture. I think it was Curiosity or Perseverance that came out with something that looked like a spike.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's not more than a month or 2 ago it came out. It was a really good one, and I did my own version.
Yeah.
Also.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
But some of the titles I read on that pictures was like huge antenna.
Yep.
Communication.
It's not that big.
Now it's 4 centimeters tall, and
yeah.
I'm like, if people would just spend 1 minute.
Well, here's the other thing too, though. Remember before, and you guys can vouch for this, way back in the day, even when I first got on, I started making videos, which is like, 2012, 2011, they used to have a lot more scale. They used to have the scales on these photos. At one point, there used to be a lot more scaling. Even in their own pans, they had scales. Try to find one now. One now. You won't find it. Why? It's all about trickery of the eye.
And that's exactly why I add scale, as you can see on the images I do on satellite images, because I can get it on the JP2 image.
I was going to say, if you get it on the JP2, you're good. Yeah.
To there, and that's to make people aware that's actually, and it might sound wrong, sorry for any feminists out there, but size matters. When you're talking about anomalies on the moon and Mars, size matters, because if you don't understand the size, you can't comprehend or put together what you're looking at. As
exactly.
I said, it was a great example with the mast, the radio tower mast. That's 4.5 centimeters tall. The picture was great, and I posted it myself. I loved it.
Yeah.
But it's not a 100-meter tall mast, and it's not.
Well, it's all about that clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I
but
mean? And
sometimes
I'd rather
when
not do
you,
that.
when
That's
you think you know people that are doing anomaly hunting, you think you know them better.
yeah, yeah,
And in this case, I actually know the person that came out with them with
yeah.
it, and the titles the person put on was like, I think it's an interesting anomaly, but I'm gonna find another title.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. It's kind of like people who say they've been abducted. Now, I'm not saying people have not, because there's been people who have.
Yeah.
What's funny about it is I can come up with it. Any one of us can come up with a story and go, you know what? As a boy, I was abducted, and I was actually walking down the street going to my friend's house, and I seen this really, really bright light, and then I was taken up into this craft. Prove me wrong. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. So this is the BS that they throw out to these people because people don't know any better. They're looking, well, maybe this is real because I've heard of abductions before. But that doesn't mean every one of them's real. And that doesn't mean just because you see like what looks like this little Martian, that's what it is. It could be anything. It could be a manipulation. It could be a centering. It could be another rock sitting on another rock, and you just wouldn't know the difference. And because the resolution is not the best in these photos. Even the PDS ones are not that great. They're clear. They're pretty darn good. But are they perfect? No. So, and a lot of people get duped, and they go onto these channels. They go, oh, my God, this guy's telling the truth. He's been abducted. How can you prove him wrong? All right. How do you know? I can just spew out a story all day long, and it doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? So, that's why I tell people.
The more times you tell it, the more you'll believe it, too.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Kind of like Basiago.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah,
It was fun,
there.
guys. I had a good time. It was good time.
Yeah, actually it was. It's just Sharpie, and John Sharp says, Will is quiet. We need him to talk a little bit, don't we, guys?
I haven't been on camera.
There's somebody that knows you, Will.
Well, I hope everybody on here that's maybe new that come along then, because I know Will as well as Thomas threw some links out there. I hope you guys subscribe to the channel. And I will. Somebody just said over here, so we can subscribe. So they want the links to your channels as well. So we will drop those once, like I said, YouTube finalizes this video and everything else. And so you will find it. If you don't find them this evening, you'll definitely find them tomorrow. So we'll definitely lay it down for you. But yeah, it was a great one, guys. I'm glad you were here. And I appreciate all the support from you guys, whether it's just, wow, you guys are doing a great job to, throwing some coffee money at us. Appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to be here with you guys. And it's been nice because it's been a while since I've been on a live feed. People are like, dude, come on, man, hook us up. So I understand. I get it. I wanted to be with you guys. And I said, what better way? In fact, was it you, Thomas, that mentioned it about doing everybody getting on?
Yeah,
I think it was you that.
Say that.
Wasn't it you that said, hey, why don't we all get on? We get Will on here. We'll all do a live feed. So I was just like, yeah, that's a fantastic idea. I want to get back on anyway. What better way to do it? So this worked out well.
Perfect.
So we're going to let everybody go. We do appreciate everybody being here and spending their time with us. And it's still early, well, somewhat here. Yeah. Not for Thomas or anybody in the UK or New Zealand. But anyway, so we appreciate, like I said, all of the support and all the love to the channel. Much love to everybody out there. And we'll see you soon in the videos coming up.
One last thing. If you like UFOs, go to Spacelink TV and find Space Junk. That's the only pictures you get that's verified by NASA with moving lights on in space.
Right. That one's awesome.
But the difference from what you get on Earth and what you get in space is that NASA actually delivered all the videos themselves that you will be seeing in that 1 hour documentary called Space Junk. And it's actually followed up by a 40-minute Black Knight Satellite episode 2, but watch episode 1 first. It's awesome. And remember to share it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'll give everybody the links. Make sure you guys subscribe to these two gentlemen's channels. We'll go to their Facebook, whatever, jump on there. Like I said, you won't be disappointed in the channels, that's for sure. Thanks again, James. Appreciate you. So get some coffee, Chris. I'm pretty wired. I got some mug. But anyway, we'll let you guys go. Much love to everybody. Have yourself a great, what's left of the weekend. Have a great week coming up. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.